All right, hello. Since they just finished releasing all of the weapon trailers for Wilds, I wanted to go ahead and go through them. I debated on whether or not doing them separately, but there's some new stuff, but not enough new to where I think, they all deserve their own video. I think this will just be nice where we can go over and talk about them, see what's changed. I've seen them all, so it's not really going to be something I'm, shocked about either. So we'll go through them, we'll watch them once, and then I'll go over and see what, I think about them. The changes and whatnot, what I perceive to be changes, even if they're not. But we'll go ahead and watch the first one. Okay, so for Greatsword, there's a couple of things I noticed. Number one, this backwards evade, I believe he does around here, seems to be faster than the standard backwards evade. I'm going to slow this footage down, that way I can actually have more time to look at it. But it does look to be a little bit faster than the one we get in World, which if so is nice. I don't know if the regular evades are faster too, or if this is just a little toning up of the backwards evade. It's a nice thing to have with Greatsword too, because I've been playing Greatsword World. I don't know if the parts will be out yet, but I did record 2 parts so far. Plan is to go through all of the weapons in World, play through their own separate instance of the game. But since I have been playing Greatsword, this is the one I'm the most acquainted with. And I'm sorry if this is a little unprofessional. I'm not very professional. But other than that, you have this charged uppercut here, which I don't know if that's just your standard XA attack that you can now charge instead of just release. It doesn't look to be that way. It looks to be a little more hefty. I don't know though, and it might be a focus mode thing. Doesn't look like he's actually in the focus mode though. There's no reticle or anything like that, and he's already standing there. It just does. He's holding it in a weirder position. The sword is actually going horizontally here instead of just immediately being dragged out. So I don't think it is your regular uppercut being charged. But I could be wrong on that. It just looks like he's starting it from such a weird position too. Of course, he could still just kind of be... And that might be your new strong charge, actually. I don't know if we saw that. I have terrible short-term memory. But that's pretty nice. And then you can follow it up with that. And that makes me think it might be focus mode then. It's not talking about focus mode here either, so we don't know for sure there. But the fact that this little zoomed in angle here comes in, and I doubt it's going to be like the dynamic camera thing in World where some weird things happen with the camera, but this might be a focus mode thing, and if that's the case, I guess that's okay. But then it immediately pops out of it, so I don't know. Pretty cool looking attack though. You have this, and this is the actual focus mode, which again, the reticle is there while he's attacking, so it's making me think the last one is not focus mode. I'm not sure what it is then, especially because the camera is weird. This attack, I don't know how good it's gonna be, because generally greatswords want to play for low sharpness stuff. So having to use an attack that is going to consume a lot of sharpness doesn't seem to be the best. It might be good enough to where it doesn't really matter and you'll like to sharpen just to be able to use that attack. But if it doesn't really do that much damage, I'm sure there will be more focus mode attacks, but it seems like that might not be the best use of your sharpness there. It's like using the little uppercut into downward thrust off of a slope or something in World. It looks cool. But is it really that efficient if you're using up all of your sharpness? Because again, Greatsword usually uses lower sharpness but higher raw stuff because it's a, single strike playstyle. You have the guard here. I'm curious if that also consumes sharpness. I don't know. I don't remember if Raz kept it where it consumed sharpness when it guarded. If they keep that, I would be surprised if it still has like the negative 10, not negative 10, but dropping 10 sharpness. I don't even know if they changed that. It's been so long since I've even guarded with a greatsword. But that is something I'm thinking about, especially on the weapons that do consume sharpness whenever they do guard. I think Charge Blade might not do that anymore. In fact, it might not have ever done it. But just something interesting to think about. This is also another thing, the backstrike. Does that actually take hit zones into account, or is it just like a motion value into the monster. Because if so, then some monsters aren't really going to be that useful. Like here, that does not look like a very weak hit zone, but it's an early game monster, so it could be like Jagras, where it looks like it might not be the squishiest, but it is actually a good hit zone. But if it's not, then I don't know if there's much of a point to that. Yeah, you get a flinch from it. I don't know if that's a guaranteed flinch or if they just staged that for the specific fight thing. You have the true charge here just coming out and getting flinched too. That's why I think a lot of these are just staged flinches, like they turn the flinch resistance down or something like that. That's another thing to think about, because yeah, it's cool, but you know, if you're only doing 50 damage for that, when your regular strikes are doing like 100, 150, you know, wouldn't you rather just set up a true charge or something like that? Though I doubt we have Slinger Burst true charge because that is a little strong. Either way, it looks pretty cool though. There is some stuff here that's pretty nice. Like the uppercut is very nice, especially if that is your just standard upper swing, the XA attack. Because being able to just charge that after, you know, doing other things and then close in for a combo finisher is pretty nice. I'm sure that lasts a little hit, and it reminds me of the strong charge into wide sweep from 4 Ultimate. It's still in the game, but it's not good because true charge overshadows it. But it really is nice just to be able to close and maybe finish a combo there, and maybe even after that go into a true charge, or you know, just roll and then start doing the standard combos again. So that's pretty nice. But yeah, looks pretty nice here. Again, there are some questionable things about it that I don't know, you know, if it keeps some of the older Monster Hunter stuff, then I don't know if it'll be too effective. But there's also a lot of stuff that just looks very nice about it. There's another thing too. This little flash there, I don't know, is that increasing your charge level as you're throwing the attack out? It happened after he did the second one, didn't it? Not really. Is that a guard point? I don't think it would be a guard point. Maybe it's a clash point. Maybe if you get hit during that point, you'll be thrown into a clash like the focus mode clash, but he's not in focus mode because there's no reticle. It's very interesting. You know, maybe if you hit the button at that time, it gives you more damage, like Perfect Rush from Sword and Shield. Or maybe if you hit it that time, it does more damage. You can see the blade is glowing red. I know the artifacting is terrible. I don't think I can increase this either, can I? Oh, wait, no, I can. That's cool. It won't pick up on the video though, so that's a little unfortunate. Yeah, see the little red glow he has, it's, you see, neither the person or the sword is glowing. Then he glows red, then his sword glows red as he's hitting, so maybe that is showing that if he hits the sword it'll go into a clash, or it's just dealing more damage. That I do not know. But yeah, either way, that was great sword, pretty cool, and we will go on to the next weapon and see what that has in store for us. Okay, heavy bowgun. Let me watch this because it's been a while since I've actually watched it. Okay, well that really, I mean, yeah, there's some new stuff there. So for preference here, or prefacing, I don't play much heavy bowgun at all. I prefer light bowgun when, you know, I do play the weapon. It's neat. It's a neat weapon, and I played it a little bit at the end of the world, but you can't really get a feel for the weapons at the end of the world because you're using Fatalis armor and Fatalis weapons, so everything is just kind of a cakewalk. Rapid fire on heavy bowgun is interesting for sure. It's still fairly slow. It's faster, of course, than just shooting regularly, but you also have the, I'm sure, the rapid fire, you know, modifier that lowers the damage that comes out of it. And then you have this, so it's neither Wyvern Snipe or Wyvern Heart. Well, no, it's Wyvern Heart there. But here you don't have the 3 little bullets, and later on he'll have 3 bullets there. So maybe that other one is Wyvern Snipe and this one is Wyvern Heart. But the other one was in focus mode too, so I'm not sure. and then as you attack, it'll refill the gauge. So it is interesting. It gives the the heavy bowgun a bar to play around. It did, again, technically have a bar to play around before, but you couldn't attack or anything to make it cool down faster. You just had to wait for time. So similar to something like Gun Lance, where your Wyvern Fire had to cool down before you could use it again. So the thing about bars is, yes, they're nice sometimes to have as a goal to focus on, but sometimes you do like to have just a simple weapon that can deal damage efficiently, just without having to build up a bar or something like that. Thinking of Sword and Shield, great sword, you know, very simple weapons that have simple things that you can just throw damage and deal damage out with. Lance is probably one of my favorite weapons. It's just very simple. You attack, you use the shield, stuff like that. And then you have stuff like Charge Blade and Switch Axe. They have bars and gauges you have to work around. You have to, you know, sustain those whenever you need to, play around it correctly, make your neutral game so you're not wasting the bar while you can't really get much damage off. So giving heavy bowgun that something that it can recharge and not just wait for a cooldown on is neat. And since you're already dealing with ammo anyways, and this is what I'm trying to say, it's not too different since ammo is kind of a bar in and of itself. You have to reload. You have to make sure you're not reloading when the monster is on a very long cooldown. That's when you really want to be dealing your damage. Of course, if you have to reload, you have to reload, but you want to prepare for that. So the monster is doing something that's fixing to make them go into a long cooldown animation. You'd rather go ahead and just reload while they're doing that attack instead of just shooting while they're doing that attack. Can't always do that. It's a bowgun. It has different reloads, different recoil, stuff like that. But it is interesting that your Wyvern Heart or whatever, and they might still have both Wyvern Snipe and Wyvern Heart. They've only shown the Wyvern Heart type, but they don't really show everything here too, so we can't really expect everything to have happened there. But it is nice you can refill it just by attacking. Rewards aggressive play, so you're not just sitting back waiting for something. Even though Wyvern Heart and Snipe, while they did a lot of damage, really weren't great compared to your main weapon, which did ludicrous damage by itself. Thinking of spread threes, you know, stuff like that. Pierce was even strong. So I'm curious how that is. And that just seems like a regular attack. Oh yeah, it's showing off the auto guard. Auto guard's interesting. I don't know if they're leaning more into it or if it's just a, hey, you can guard because you have a shield. We'll have to see, since it is auto guard, so I don't know. You have focus mode. This is where the three show up. This is reminding me of Wyvern Stomp. It is faster. Let me see if it pierces. No, it doesn't pierce, so it's like a sticky shot, which, if it is a sticky shot, then maybe it's just powering up the ammo you have, like supercharging it. It did actually lower the bar, didn't it? Hold on, let me see here. Yeah, so it does lower the bar. Now, since this is in focus mode, are you building up specifically for this, or can you do it both? It does that use a third of it? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So it uses about, let's say there's 10 bars, right? So 3%, or not 3%, 30% of your bar, which is okay. That leaves you a little bit more to, you know, be able to charge pretty quickly, decently quickly off of, as compared to using it all at once, obviously. So that's interesting. Makes me wonder if you could immediately switch to your Wyvern Heart or whatever afterwards. Though probably not really going to get much use out of it because you only get 1 bar, which will be consumed fairly quickly. And I don't think that's sticky, because sticky usually has more downtime off of that. And it's not like it's exhaust. I was gonna say, is it exhaust? No, this monster here specifically has like a lot of saliva just generally dripping out of its mouth. And then that looks like the clash animation or something like that, because it stops right before. I'm curious if the monsters are like scripted during their clashes, or if it's just kind of a tackle attack or something whenever that happens. I mean, it seems fairly strong, but again, we can't really tell. And that does, you know, how are clashes initiated is another question. Because if you can just immediately initiate them without any problem, then how effective is that going to be at making the game, you know, more difficult, and you don't just spam clashes the entire time? I'm sure there will be something, because these monsters flinch quite a bit in these little previews here, which don't give you an idea of how strong something actually is, because the staging they do here, like some attacks from the Sword and Shield were flinching, which, you know, Sword and Shield can flinch a lot, but early on, well, I mean, early on you flinch a lot too. I don't know. It's not really an easy gauge to tell. Like, do they always flinch during the clash, or is it just kind of a neutral and they can immediately start attacking like you can? It's interesting to see, or it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Now, this is actually the clash. Never mind. I don't know what this is then. This just seems like they perfectly staged that to actually go off. And that doesn't look to be what they shot here. What they shot here was just a standard attack. Yeah, it's not. It's just shooting off something. Now, I'm noticing they are charging it. So again, is that just charging a regular ammo and supercharging it? Or is it a special type of ammo that sticks to the monster and explodes or something like that? And is it going to be different for each bowgun? Do some bowguns have like a sticky shot? And some bowguns maybe pierce or something like that, specific to the weapon itself? Like maybe that's a wyvern heart type or a wyvern snipe type, and that's gets the sticky one whenever you shoot it. I don't know. At this point, it's just a lot of guessing. And that shoots up into the air. I don't know if that's actually a mechanic. Like, does it shoot up into the air and come back down? Hold on. We'll see exactly where it goes. It cuts off though, so we can't really see too much. It should explode here. And another thing, so while in focus mode, and again, it might just be exhausted here, but you see the monster's just kind of standing there, not doing anything. You know, he's kind of doing a taunt animation, which makes me think he's exhausted. I hope you don't just shoot the attack and then they stop moving for a couple of seconds, because that's very easy to cheese in multiplayer. So I'm just hoping this is specifically just staged for this. Now you have the explosion here and you have a couple of bullets shoot off into the air. Is that gonna come back to the hunter, or is that just a little flavor animation to show it exploded? Because it goes into the air for some reason, but it doesn't go in a velocity or a trajectory, let me say it like that, that it looks like it's gonna come back down. It kind of looks like it's returning to the hunter. I don't know how. That doesn't really make much sense. And it might just be shooting off into the air. I'm not really sure what the purpose of it is, but something to think about. Then we have that. It explodes. What is that? That is a slow pierce shot. It's kind of like, it reminds me of something. The heavy bowgun stake, the worm stake, where it kind of sticks in, except this one's piercing through out, but it has kind of the same sound effect where it's sticking in and constantly shooting. So fairly interesting. Did he charge it up too beforehand? Looked like the barrel was glowing, but that might be the explosion on it too. He just shot it off. Again, so that might be like a different ammo type. Again, it's fairly slow. Maybe it's fire ammo. I don't know. This is the clash. Here's the clash. So is this only available on shield types? Because that does look like the slightly shorter barrel compared to, I believe, this one. Actually, I think it had it on there always, so never mind. That's just me being silly. But it does do a clash here, so I'm curious if that's only for the shield types, or if it also works for the other one. I would say it probably only works for the shield types, because I mean, I don't know, maybe it can swallow the bowgun whole. I don't think it would be able to, though. So that's interesting, too. Gives a little bit of an edge to shields, being able to clash like that. Again, the question is, how much stamina does that use, and how much health does it take? And whether or not for, you know, something like Greatsword, does it use sharpness? But again, it is interesting. And that actually didn't seem to explode or anything like that. Maybe you just forced him off. Or was that a failure? Did he fail the clash? Wait, no, that looks like an explosion, kind of. But it also just kind of looks like a clink. And he backs up. What's the sound effect for that? It's a shot, but doesn't look very effective. So maybe it's just a normal shot or something like that. So it is interesting. Again, there's some new mechanics there. You have rapid fire and you have the new kind of bar you have to deal with. And another question is on these little 3 ammo type things. Are they going to respawn and cool down with time like this one? Is it going to be like the light bowgun having its mines where they just kind of respawn over time, or are they something you have to reload manually? Like, can you only reload them in focus mode? I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work. Either way, there's heavy bowgun. Looks interesting. There's some new stuff, but also mostly the same because it is heavy bowgun. Not really much changes with it over time. Unless we're talking about GU. Okay, next we can start with Insect Glaive. This is one of my more favorite weapons just because it's fairly fast, it's light, it's low committal. So we'll go ahead and watch it. Okay, so right off the bat, we see quite a bit of new stuff with it, or new UI stuff, let me say it like that. So if we go over here to where he's actually attacking, we'll see this over here. So this one's pretty similar. It's pretty much the same, and these two are also the same to Rise and World technically too. They're kind of that diamond shape. However, the stamina bar is a bit smaller, or maybe it's not a bit smaller. It's just in a different location. It's different. It obviously looks different because it's kind of more in a meter shape and less of like just a bar under the Kinsect. Of course, I'm going by memory here, so I could be wrong. So that's neat. Not really too much you see here that's different. It is nice that you can see which extract the Kinsect will get if it, you know, grabs onto that monster part specifically. So now you're not thinking, where is this orange extract at, or the green one if you're looking for that for some reason. Red and white are usually the arms and the head. Or head and the arms, let me categorize that correctly there. But the orange ones are usually the most difficult, especially in older ones. Like in 4 Ultimate, it is nigh impossible to get the orange extract on a flying wyvern because it is their body, but a lot of times you're hitting the wings, the head, or the tail before you actually reach the body, and they're moving around pretty quickly, and your Kinsects are pretty slow. So that's another thing I need to keep note of, is how fast this Kinsect is. Can't really tell there, it's too close, but he'll bounce off, he'll grab the extract. As you can see, only one wing is glowing. This has been theorized, obviously, to, you know, maybe we can get multiple. I don't know if they always can have multiple at once, or if it's just the specific Kinsect, or if this UI element is always here and it will only highlight the one if it's one that can only grab one, and the other one can be filled in if it's one that can grab 2. I don't know. But that fills up. And then there's just a little poke here. So I believe since he isn't, you know, buffed up, that's just kind of the standard poke. However, something to note is that the reticle is here. So this seems to be focus mode. Again, I don't know how, I don't even know if they said how you actually activate focus mode. If it is just holding ZL, then you'll probably constantly be in focus mode. And that's why they show him kind of running around with those weapon unsheathed, similar to something like Prowler. Because you're constantly trying to aim in focus mode. So you're going to be in focus mode because you're constantly trying to aim your Kinsect. It is nice that you also can attack a little bit and get buffs. However, you don't really attack with your Insect Glaive whenever you don't have, at the very least, red buff. Another thing to note is that this attack look a little, and we don't have damage numbers here, so we don't see how it's actually going to be. But this attack looked a little weak whenever he actually attacked there. That looks like an unbuffed, non-red buff Kinsect attack. So I don't know if they've changed how that works, and you now have to have red, white, or, you know, have to have the triple up. If so, that's a little unfortunate, but we don't really know enough to actually make a call off of that yet. And then he'll grab the white one here. So, and that might just be a specific focus mode attack. And if this is focus mode, how are we going to shoot our Kinsect out is the question. Because if you hold ZL to go into focus mode and press X or A to attack, then what's your button going to be for Kinsect? And if that's not the case, then how's that going to work then? I'm sure we'll see whenever they show us actually how, or people play the demo or whatnot. Something to note here again is that I think the monster is now exhausted, unless it's just another slobbering monster, which, you know, it's not the most uncommon thing, but he does look to be exhausted here. He's just kind of moving slowly and stuff like that. So let's actually pay attention to what the hunter's doing now, which I guess confirms that exhaustion is back if that's what it is. So that's cool. Exhaustion's always nice. So there's the standard like reaping slash, I think is what it's called. Let me go back far enough so we're actually seeing what's happening here. And I know a little more about Insect Glaive, so I can go a little deeper into this. So yes, it's nice you can run with your weapon out while aiming. That's a really nice thing, and something I would have absolutely loved in 4 Ultimate, because especially with 3DS controls, a lot of times you're holding the R button to aim, and if you let go of the R button really at any point, you're going to shoot a marking shot. And those marking shot, especially the animation, just takes forever. It doesn't do any damage. It just marks for the insect. And sometimes you accidentally let go of the R button incorrectly, and now you're stuck in an animation, probably going to get hit, marking a spot you really don't want to extract from. So at the very least here, you're moving quicker, it seems, out of your aiming. So that way, at the very least, you can reposition pretty nicely, which is nice. You also couldn't dodge out of aiming your insect in the older games, because that would throw you into your vault, because you're not holding ZL to aim, you're holding R, and R plus B is your vault, which is also not fun, because now you can't evade when holding R. If you could evade when holding R2, you know, it would have been fine, but you're stuck into vaulting, and that's not a great evasive maneuver. Either way, he goes around here, he does a quick dodge there into the regular leaping slash, reaping slash. That seemed pretty standard. Nothing really new there. Now this is new. I don't know. Did he go out of focus mode at all there? That's the question. No, he did not. Okay, so it seems you can maybe do your standard attack in focus mode. Again, we're assuming this is maybe focus mode because it's the same looking reticle, unless my memory is just absolutely that terrible. So either that is him going into the reaping slash and doing the A attack, but you can now directionally change it, which has been a very common thing with the weapon. So, you know, press A, you start to spin around like you do, you know, with the regular A button attack. But this time you can actually, oh wait, but if he's in focus mode, maybe that's why it's changing direction. Maybe you might not be able to change the direction yourself, or maybe you can change the direction yourself in focus mode. Maybe that's it, because I do believe this is the actual A button attack after the thing, or maybe not. Yeah, you'll do the reaping slash into the side swap, and that's what it looks like, because it's just a couple of swipes. 3, 1, 2. Yeah, that's what it is. So I'm wondering if focus mode is just really augmenting your ability to turn during your combos there, which is pretty nice for Insect specifically. And if it isn't focus mode, then is that reticle just always up? If it is, that's interesting. I don't know if I would like that. It'd be more of a nitpick than anything. It's not the end of the world, but something to think about. Now this looks like, let's see, what is this attack? It looks very similar. Yeah, that's the finishing attack. I don't remember what it's from though, or how you get to that. Is it the X button? I don't remember, but there is an attack after your combo kind of ends there that you can do, and it kind of spins your hunter around. It might be a rise attack. That might be what I'm thinking of. Or a world attack. I think it's a 5th gen attack though. I don't think you could do it in the older games, and I might just be forgetting. Normally you'll do the X button and then you'll go into A and either press A again or X again to do your infinite combo, which is pretty nice. But this seems to be a standard Insect Glaive combo that is just augmented due to either the new mechanics of Wilds or just focus mode itself, which is pretty nice. If you can just take your standard moveset and move around that quickly, which is what Insect Glaive just kind of does, that's going to be great for movement. Hopefully the monsters keep up with that and it's not too easy to move around, and you're also not too weak though, but we'll see. But yeah, that's exactly what it is. So it's not really a new move there, but you can do a lot more with that move now. Because you'll do the X button into the A button and either the A finisher or whatnot, and you'll see the insect flying around with it. That reminds me of Valor Insect Glaive, where you are, once you are fully up to your Valor gauge or have it fully filled, you'll be able to, you know, attack with your insect and stuff like that. Or, you know, just doing it in Rise, where you have the specific insect that attacks with you. So that's pretty nice too. But again, it just looks, it doesn't look anything new attack wise, but you can do more things with the attacks, which is nice. Yeah, and seeing then you do the A button attack that does the little launch there. So yeah, nothing really new in terms of what the attacks like do hit wise, but you can maneuver it, and that's really, really nice. It looks so different that, you know, it probably won't even feel the same anymore if you can really turn it around that much. And here the reticle is gone, so he's not in focus mode, but he is just in standard mode, and you can still vault out of it. So I'm curious about that. So I don't remember. I guess, yeah, you could just in general, I'm thinking of Raz here, but yeah, in general, your just standard A button attack or X button attack could mount in world. So that's pretty nice. Not really showing much other than that mounting is back. And then he's doing focus mode. So focus mode here is interesting. You can do a little lunge there like a lance, and then you'll do a little backflip here. Now, I'm wondering if this is the same backflip, which it's new. I think it is new though, because there is a backflip you can do even in older gen games, where if you hold back in A, you'll do a little backflip instead of a forward flip with your insect glaive, just to reposition out of the way while attacking kind of forward, but you also attack backwards as you move backwards. So I think that's similar to something like that, where you hold back on the directional stick and then you'll just hit whatever input that is, and then you'll shoot out the insect. Not sure how much damage that will do. Maybe that's an attack that'll grab both buffs, but I don't know. We don't know enough about that there. Now this seems to be a mount finisher, because as you can see, whenever we load in to the next clip, he's kind of glued to the monster here. So as the monster moves, kind of looks like he's standing on the ground, but he's not. But as the monster moves, you can see him kind of gravitate towards it. So he's here. He doesn't really move that much himself, but you can see him going towards to where the one monster is. I don't know what these things are called, but oh well. And that just seems to be a mount finisher, because if it were a standard attack, you wouldn't lock onto the monster. Think of the diving wyvern or stuff like that in world, and technically in Rise too. It looks like it is a scripted attack that you do once the monster has been finished, and you just finish the mount on it. Another thing to think about, and I believe Insect Glaive does have that natural innate sharpness, that razor sharp type thing on it. Could be wrong though, but I think it does. This looks like it's going to absolutely mutilate your sharpness. Like if that is each hit, that does not look great for your sharpness. So either the mounting attacks don't take sharpness, or they take full sharpness here and your sharpness is gone, which is not great if you do get a down on the mount attack, because you might have to sharpen now that you've done this finisher. We'll have to see though. We're not 100% sure on that. This looks a little wild. I don't know if that's a finisher on a focus attack. The reticle is not there, so maybe that's just a new attack. It looks a little wild though. It really has a lot of energy going into that. Again, another attack though that really just shreds your sharpness. So again, I do believe Insect Glaive does have that natural innate razor sharp, but I could be wrong here. It does look like it does quite a bit of damage, but again, when they flinch, you don't really know how strong the actual move is, because these are usually staged for the final hit to actually flinch. Now, he shot into the air there. I don't think he was shooting at the insect. Yeah, no, he's just shooting at our player, which actually looks like he quite missed that, but oh well. He lands there. Your diving wyvern is back, which is nice. Look, just standard world diving wyvern. It's not the rise one, which is nice. So he'll probably finish it with a marking shot or a marking strike. It is nice to see there. You know, you see the insect glowing, so I assume it's fixing to attack or not. But still, it's nice to see that that's there. It still does use some sharpness at the end, but it's still a fairly strong attack. So you'll probably be able to use it however much you want, as long as you can land it, which is nice. You don't have to worry about wire build cooldown. That's always pretty cool. So I think you can tell the weapons I'm more into, I'll give a little more detailed review on. But yeah, there's Insect Glaive. Looks very nice. It looks very fun and fluid, and that's really why I like to use Insect Glaive, because it is just quick and easy to use. Oh boy, that was only number 3. All right, let's get into the gun lance. Okay, so gun lance is a weapon I don't use that often because I prefer the regular lance, so probably won't be able to say too much on this, but first things first, you have this charging, which it's kind of flashing each time. I don't know if it's done that before, and this might be a weapon like specifically for this. I don't think it is though, but it might be specifically for this, you know, weapon, this whatever this weapon is made from. That looks like the ingot set, so maybe it's the ingot weapon. But it is interesting. I don't know if that's like levels of charge. They seemed a little too close together to actually be levels of charge, and maybe it's just the longer you charge it, the more damage it does. I don't know, but we'll see more as we get into this. So you have your standard pokes here. That's pretty, you know, standard stuff. You have poke shell. You have a shell into a sidestep shell. And again, I haven't played gun lance hardly at all, so if there's any like Valor moves here, I wouldn't really know about them. I only know very specific Valor things because if I'm playing GU, I'm probably playing as a Prowler, so I don't have much experience as hunters in GU other than like Valor, Greatsword, stuff like that. But yeah, that's pretty neat. That is a very nice evade option. It does still use a lot of sharpness, so it might stink to have to use some sharpness just to evade, but it's still a nice positioning thing. If you do need it, it's there. If you don't like to, you don't have to do it either. So that's pretty cool. And you can come in with a side sweep. Now, is this just the standard side sweep, but you can do it at range now and move forward? Because I know you can do your standard running upward thrust. So maybe that's also just, you know, another thing you can run forward with. Does one there. And you can do it again into a shell. Now, does that have to be a shell? Or can you just do a regular standard and just add A to it to do it? Or maybe it's an XA attack and it, you know, does both because you pressed X and A. You use your physical and your gunning attack. Something to think about. I believe this is similar to aerial gun lance. I believe I've heard something say, or someone say that, where, you know, you jump into the air and kind of swing downwards and shoot out a little flamethrower while you're doing it. But I don't know about that. And you can also go into your worm stake from that. So that's pretty nice. I mean, it's a very fluid combo. Like, they show the whole thing here. If I can go to the right spot. Yeah, I mean, that's a very fluid combo. You'll shoot, you'll sidestep, you do a side swipe into an exploding side swipe into your worm stake, which, did that actually touch the monster? It didn't actually really touch the monster, so it seems like you can be they're going to be a little more generous with how you're, oh, it shoots out, right? Yeah, it shoots out now, your worm stake. So before, you actually had to hit it physically with the hitbox, I believe. But here it actually shoots out. You can see here the actual physical hitbox, or not the physical, but the visual worm stake has shot out of the gun lance. It's not physically attached to it anymore. And that's why it landed. See, I thought the monster was a little further away. It's like one of those moments where you shoot your worm stake out in world or something like that. It just misses because the monster is that far away. They flinch just in time for it to miss. So that's what it seems like, but no, it actually shoots out and sticks into the monster's head. So that's nice. Now you don't have to be perfectly on point with it. So long as it's in the general direction of where you shoot, it should go straight into the monster. As you can see here, you know, it comes out and no, maybe, hold on. Well, it looks a little odd there. Because it's there and then it appears into the monster's skull, which that looks a bit odd. But it still shoots out pretty far. So maybe it doesn't physically shoot out, but it does come out. And as you can see, you know, go from the left frame to the right frame and just disappears now. And it does not look like it's actually touching him here. Like maybe tiny a little bit, but it certainly has extended range. And that might be the thing, because I believe in World, the actual hitbox on the gun lance, or the model of the gun lance, dictated how far the worm stake came out. So the longer ranged gun lances were generally better for landing your worm stakes because they had further reach. So this might be a way of them actually fixing that, because now they just do it in a set way, but it now is animated to show it shooting out. So it actually connects with the monster easier. So that's pretty nice. And it, you know, sticks into the monster. It doesn't drill, it looks like. It just kind of does the standard thing there, so that's fine. And then they reload. And then we have this here. Just a standard attack. Now this is a new guard point type thing. It reminds me of the guard point in Rise though. Because you could do a slam and full burst after that, I believe. It might not be the same. I'm sure you can probably reload after it too, so that's pretty nice. But yeah, it just very much reminds me of that. Something to note also is that, yeah, there's no flash when the monster hits her there. So as she does this, it flashes. So it doesn't seem like you have to be on point with the flash. Instead, and it's probably similar to GU, like the first thing I'm thinking of is the guard point on dual blades in Valor mode. When you have your Valor gauge up, if you tap the R button, you'll kind of shine there, but it's not for just the shine. You can also do it a little bit earlier, I believe, or a little bit later, one of the two. And that's probably how it is here. There's a little perfect guard animation similar to Adept Gun Lance, and you'll see her do it here. Right there, you see her kind of jerk the shield in front of her, and it does that little overarching animation. See, normally, again, I'm trying to go from memory here, but the shield just goes straight. It doesn't do that little overarching thing unless you are using Adept Lance or Gun Lance. Then it does that little wiggle thing, and if you're hit during that wiggle animation, then you get it. Now, is that little flash a sign that you correctly did the guard point? Or the perfect guard? Or is that how long it actually lasts? So she reacts as the monster hits her, and then she goes into it. So I'm going to say that's probably just a sign that you did it correctly and the game is giving you good feedback for it, showing that you did it. So now you can do whatever attack out of it that you want. And she decides to go for a full burst here. I don't know if it's going to be like past perfect guards where you can tap it again after too, just to get another one off. We saw it with Lance, and we'll show that later, that it also has a perfect guard too. Is that one going to be less generous but stronger? I don't know. We'll have to see. Just holding here, and you can actually charge your shellings while guarding. That's pretty nice. Very nice thing. Could you do that before? Actually, I think you could. Hold on. Which game was that? Was it World? No, that's actually your guard input. So I don't know what that is, or your reload input. RNA or zRNA. So I don't know what this is. But yeah, you can charge your gun lance while shelling. And maybe you just hold the A button and it'll pull the shield out. Similar to the Wyvern's Fire thing. So that's pretty nice. Up sweep into down sweep into full burst. That's just a Wyvern's Fire. Again, another question would be, is that shield going to do anything? It looks like it might because it is in front of the player, but you never know. It looks like it probably is though. So if you're hit from that direction, you'll shield it. So this is focus mode. You take the worm stake, you start it, you unfold the gun lance and start drilling it into the monster. I doubt that'll actually use sharpness since it's just using the worm stake itself. It wouldn't make sense if it used sharpness, and it would be nice if it wouldn't use sharpness, because if it did, you're already really starving for sharpness if you're using your shelling. So now that even makes it worse. So I doubt you use sharpness for that, but something to think about if it does. And it also immediately explodes. You don't stick it into the monster or anything. So that's kind of a nice thing. You can control it a little more. And then you go into your Wyvern's Fire. There's the thing. There's another little sweep. The other one before, maybe it's the same attack. It just doesn't have as wide of a sweep. So from here, it's coming downwards and to the left. The other one, it goes upwards and to the left. So not quite the same, I'm guessing. Though it may be the same input, but you get a different attack depending on what you did before. But it is kind of that flamethrower type thing. Maybe it's a full burst, but in the air. Or no, it doesn't look like that though. Well, maybe it is. Hold on, how many shells fly out? Looks like quite a few actually, but that might be just flavor animation. Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I don't see any more. Oh wait, no, that one, what was that then? Oh no, that was just standard. Maybe that's a reload, I don't know. And then as it comes down here, maybe that reloaded after. Let's see here. Looks like it's, actually, I don't even see one. Were they maybe all unloaded into that attack? I don't think so. And another thing to think of. What is that, actually? That's a reload. And then into probably what is a full burst. That's got to be because the worm stake is in the monster. Reload into the swipe. So if you can reload into a swipe, that's pretty cool. But if that is the reload. Yeah, see, the barrel's empty there. Actually. Yeah, that's the worm stake. Yeah, see. Reload. So now the worm stake is back in there. It folds back in. The gun lance folds back up. Checking my phone real quick, sorry. And then you do the swipe full burst thing. So that's pretty cool if that's the case. If that is just a very, very, very fast reload. But it seems like you can actually reload your worm stake pretty quickly. So that's pretty cool too. You don't just have to set their whole guard and then reload it. So yeah, and then you could immediately go into a worm stake from that quick little reload. Maybe that's a focus mode thing. I don't see the reticle though. So probably not. Another thing. The shield glows during this. You gotta pay a lot of attention to that. See, right there is where the shield starts glowing. And that's a very noticeable glow. So probably at any point during that attack, yeah, you can guard. Now, whether or not you get the attack off after the guard, and it seems pretty generous if that glowing animation is how long it lasts. Because, I mean, the shield is completely out of her way, but it still glows. So, yeah, that's pretty neat. There's the clash. Again, I'm not sure how those are going to work. Maybe that's what happens instead if you get hit by it. Maybe that's what they're showing off. But yeah, a lot of good stuff for gun lance. Fluidity, movement, and also more combo links, which is to be expected per game. You know, you get more combo links and stuff, but, you know, you get a lot of new stuff here, which is pretty nice. Okay, hunting horn. Okay, so you definitely see some Rise influence from it, but it's still closer to World's Hunting Horn. The nice thing is that it is still keeping kind of the faster recital style from World, but you still have to commit to it, which makes me hope that Encores are back. I've never played Hunting Horn much, but it is a weapon that I've always wanted to, you know, really learn, and I'll be trying to learn that eventually. But it does look, you know, it's made it a little easier to use from the World style, but it's also still kept the complexity of the World style compared to Rise. But you have a standard overhead swing into... That seems new, but that could just be a directional change on a move that, you know, a standard move you have. Maybe it's the A button. Doubt it's X-A because that would be the backwards slam. And then, oh wait, no, that might be a recital input. So what this reminds me of actually is, and it might just be a standard attack during a recital too, but the recital mode from like Freedom Unite, and before that too, because you attack here, then you go into your recital. So it'll be this attack. So you've already pressed ZR. You do that attack after pressing ZR. And then into this, you'll play the song. Then you press the R button again. It seems like that might just be a side spec though. A press. And you're playing again. So that's kind of what it reminds me of. And that might be what they're trying to get the feeling of. Is that you're constantly still fighting while playing the song. Which is nice. That's what you kind of want Hunting Horn to be. If you really want to go into that, you know, music playing style and the buff giving off. It's just constantly playing while still being mobile and being able to move out of it. And the fact that the recitals are so much faster now compared to Worlds, and you're not having to like do an evade or something like that, is pretty nice, because that's insanely quick. Into your encore too. Actually, they already did the encore there, but still, this is very quickly executed. Something also to note is that, and maybe those white flashes are when it makes the echo bubble go off, because you see here, look, it flashes white, and maybe that's just an echo wave. Maybe it's similar to Raz's Hunting Horn, where it has an echo wave while you're playing a note, but that's, maybe it is just part of the recital. I don't know. That's interesting to think about though, because it doesn't seem like a standard X or A attack. That just does not seem like it. It seems like he started, pressed X, slam downwards, X in the forward button, slam downwards, because if you just stand still and press X, it'll do kind of the sideward swing. Then he presses ZR, swings it around, goes into his recital, and those white flashes didn't actually play on the hunting horn there, but a little bit earlier when he did this first smack, or the first little recital hit, you see here that the hunting horn is glowing. Like, that's not just the song being played, that's the hunting horn glowing. Maybe it's not though, maybe that's just how the effect went off, but I believe it starts to glow white. So then he plays the recital here. You can tell when it goes off because he glows white. It's pretty nice. Is that, maybe it's not, because you got them very quickly, and maybe that's an encore. Maybe that's just an insanely fast encore, but I don't think it would be. Then he immediately starts attacking in, and maybe that is a going into the encore. Maybe he got the song. I'm not used to the preview weapons playing pretty quickly though. Normally they'll let all of the animations finish, not end and finish. But he does this here, and maybe he taps R after that. And that's what this is. Maybe him tapping R throws him into this attack. But that just seems like a regular like side smack button. Well, no, he's going into playing again though. So yeah, no, that's what it was. I don't know what the white flash is, but he finished playing the song, side smacks, into finishing. Wait, no, hold on. Yeah, he does that. So press the ZR button. He's okay, yeah, and that's why I was thinking it was part of the recital mode. He's playing the song while he's attacking. He's not just attacking. If you can listen here, I believe it's partway through, and that might just be hit effect. I might just be, no, it's not, because as he finishes that side smack, you can still hear the drums on the weapon actually being played. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so as you're attacking here, which again really reminds me of the recital mode, though it's still more fluid because you're playing still during the note portion of it, you're playing your songs as you're attacking. That's why it looks like the recital attacks are so quick. That's because you're still doing the song. You're still pretty much doing the full song, at least from what I can tell here. It's just that you're playing it while you're attacking, which is so nice. It makes it look, at the very least, more fluid. Even though you're still doing that long animation commitment, now you're throwing in attacks in between that seem to not actually, change the song you're playing. But that shouldn't actually matter. In fact, it should let you store up more songs. I don't know if it's going to be like Raz, where it plays all of the songs or something like that. Raz is very weird, hunting horn was. But he does that and he finishes the song there, and he just goes back into standard neutral play where he's not, flashing or anything like that. Again, that's a very interesting sequence of inputs that I can't really put my finger on. So we'll just see what happens here and if there's any consistencies. So he's doing this, and that is from neutral. So maybe it's a ZR, X, and A attack. I'm talking about, sorry, I'm using Nintendo inputs because I use a Pro controller. That would be Y and B, right? Because they're swapped. Yeah, that'd be Y and B on the Xbox controller. And I don't know about PlayStation. But that might be just all of the inputs combined. Either that or it's a special recital. Maybe he had a special song queued up. Or maybe his melody bar is empty, and that's just what happens when you play. I don't think so. How did you place Echo Bubbles in World? You just played a song, didn't you? I don't remember. I don't know how you placed Echo Bubbles in World, actually. It's kind of sad. But yeah, it just looks like a recital animation. So that's nice. And this is one of the few where sometimes the damage numbers are activated. So we'll see. And we'll see all of this when the demo comes out, but still. And okay, nope, that's what I said before, the white flashes. So whenever the hunter flashes white, that's when an echo bubble is. And that's probably also it's dealing damage with this, but it also activates an echo bubble. So just to show here, we can correspond it with the animation. So we go here. We're going to watch the hunting horn first. Just specifically the hunting horn. Okay, maybe not. Hold on. Maybe he didn't walk into it yet. But you see here, it did a little animation there, letting out a wave. Then as we keep going forward, did it play another one out? No, it didn't. Oh, wait, hold on. No. Yeah. If we play it in full speed, there we go. That makes more sense. If you play it in full speed, you can see here. Maybe he just has a bunch of echo bubbles set up. But you see that the hunting horn is letting out a wave of its own. Probably be easier to see at full speed. Yeah, and as that happens, it lets off all of the other ones. Now, the hunting horn didn't flash white, so maybe it just doesn't flash white. Hold on, though. Are we sure it didn't? Yeah, it didn't. Okay, it didn't flash white, but still. But as you can see, as he's playing throughout here, every time he does that, and that probably was how it was in World. I'm just overthinking this. But yeah, every time he lets out a shockwave, it will play that. YouTube is being funny today. But you saw it flashed right there, so it does flash white sometimes. Didn't it flash white right there? Yeah. So sometimes it flashes white. Now, again, this is similar to the flashing white on the shield, so maybe it's a guard point to initiate a clash or something. I doubt that, though. Again, he's not in focus mode. It does not look like a guarding attack, so maybe it's adept or something like that. I don't think so, though. Well, I mean, if he just tapped the R button, it could be like Ryze's hunting horn, where you just dodge after or evade or something like that. I don't know. I don't think so, though. But it is flashing white, so I'm right on that front. You have the little twirly on the right into a recital. Let's play this because I haven't seen it yet. Really? Yeah. It flashed white there. So again, I'm not really sure what that flashing white is because it's not actually the one that activates the echo bubbles. Maybe that's just showing when it lets out a song. Or maybe it's, I don't think it's like Perfect Rush though. It actually glue white inside of the monster for a second there. Maybe that's just showing the completion of a recital. No. Because he did that as he initiated this attack. Yeah, you can smack while you're recitaling. Could you do that in World? I don't think you could. So that's nice. You have some extra attacks you can do while recitaling. It looked like a new attack, but you can just kind of smack while recitaling and keep it going. Yeah, and just kind of keep it going there. So that's nice. Okay, so let's look at the recital, see what the little things are that come out of it. Really quick. I'm on YouTube. I wish you could do this a little bit quicker, but you can't. Without it just loading and going to 4 feet away. Doesn't make any sense, but oh well, you get what I mean. Okay, so one attack. You can see where I'm guessing this is playing a note. Maybe that's a blue note. I guess we'll see on the next attack if it changes. Seems like just a standard standing still A button. This is the X button, so you still have your side left and right smacks. Actually, no, that goes into immediately playing. Okay, so as you start to play, you get a white flash. Again, I don't know if this is a depth thing or if that's just hunting horn doing things. But as this happens, you flash white after the song finishes playing. Maybe it's transferring the buffs from the hunting horn to the player. I don't think so, though. That's kind of seems useless. Did it also make her flash white? No, it doesn't. That's odd. Why would it not? Unless it's just, oh, maybe that's self-improvement or something like that. Yeah. I heard a double effect, but I don't know why she didn't flash white too. Okay, either way, focus mode, you have Earthshaker here. It's a little bit slower, so either it's been powered up to compensate for the longer animation time, or they thought it was too strong, so they slowed down the animation time and made it multiple hit. That way it wasn't spammed as often. Again, maybe it's playing a melody too. Maybe if you have a melody queued up, it does that because it's flashing white. I have no idea what these flashes are. Because unlike, you know, Gunlance, you can assume, well, the shield's flashing white. You know, it's an adept guard. Here, though, as you can see, and maybe that just shows when it blows up an echo bubble. Maybe that's exactly what it is, but it wasn't doing that before. It wasn't always flashing white. But you got one, the second strum. I would assume these silk bug things are the things causing the strum because that's a drum, not a guitar. But another flash, it explodes. Maybe that's just when, I don't know, that would make sense though, because it immediately glue at the start of a recital, so it can't be just the buff finishing. So yeah, I don't know what that is, but that one was actually, maybe it's like Perfect Rush. Maybe it actually is like Perfect Rush, or if you hit the button in time and you're not just mashing, maybe it's trying to teach people not to mash. So if you hit the button in time, boom, you get it off, you get good damage. Hit it off in time there, boom. And that's the finisher. And that's maybe what the little silk bug things are going into it again. Because it'll glow once more, probably. Yeah, and well, no. Because the attack went off after or before then. Either that or they pressed it too early and we can't really tell here. Okay, maybe focus mode. Okay, we did start with the reticle, right? Yeah. The reticle's the same. Never mind. So maybe the flashing on the characters, and we saw it on the greatsword, and whatever came after, maybe it was the insect glaive. I don't remember. Maybe that's a focus mode thing. So when you're in focus mode, it's like Perfect Rush on Sword and Shield, where while you're in focus mode, you have these little chances during your attacks to press the button at the correct time. And actually, no, never mind. I was playing it in slow-mo. No, that's just the hunting horn doing weird hunting horn things, so never mind. It's flashing for some reason. We don't know why it's flashing yet. So still something we have to look forward to see what that mechanic actually is. There's a mount finisher. Player's once again glued to the monster, so we can assume that's a mount finisher. Because the monster is standing still. I don't see any saliva coming out of its mouth, but again, I can't really figure that either way. But as soon as that attack ends, the monster flinches and falls over. So yeah, that's just a regular mount finisher. Here is what the slide, what's it called? Rhythmic slide, I don't remember what it's called. The slide attack in Rise, where you had super armor. I don't know if you still have super armor, but you still have the pretty thick looking ending attack. And it looks like you actually put 2 out, but I could be wrong on that. We'll see here. Yeah, you put 2 out. 2 weird echo waves, which is cool because that activates your echo bubbles twice, if that is in fact the case. But yeah, there's 1 and 2. Looks a little weaker though at the end there. But yeah, that's your Earth. No, that was Earthshaker is the one where he's sticking in the monster to that. I don't remember what it's called. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. Again, I don't know if you have the super armor through it, but hey, that's still a nice move to have because it was pretty strong at the end. No, that's different. Okay, I was gonna say, is that the start of it? Because that looks very similar to the start of the slide, where you go back, you shoot the wire bug and kind of lean back. No, he's actually just kind of dancing around there, so never mind. Wait a second. This might be the key to our... No, never mind. That doesn't make any sense at all. So he does flash there. Right, we see that. It's very brief though, and the monster is nowhere near him for that to actually be an adept dodge. He just kind of dodges backwards. Hopefully that has iframes. And dodges, you know, again, you can't really tell too easily because they're not doing this out in the open. They're doing it right next to a monster's attack, so you can't tell if this is scripted or not. Because he hits again. Very interesting that that comes out at where the hunter is and not, well, I guess it can come out at the base of the hunting horn, but it doesn't come out where the end of the drum is. So that's odd looking, but maybe it's a counter, maybe it's a clash or something like that. So maybe the clashes with the non-shield weapons are more evasive, or maybe it's just a scripted little section they had to make it look cool. We'll see. Again, he's glowing white there, so maybe that ends a recital. Maybe again, if you have a song queued up and you do this attack, it'll end because you see that tiny, it's very faint at the end, but you see it there where it glows. So I don't know, but yeah, it looks pretty cool. Again, there's just a lot of new stuff with it. Probably mechanically wise, because they've really been trying to tune Hunting Horn up to where people are actually wanting to play it. But they did that in Rise, and while it's okay in Rise, it loses the complexity that really makes Hunting Horn shine and makes it unique. I don't know. We'll see though. On to the next weapon. Longsword. Okay, so another weapon that just randomly flashes. That might just be your clash timing. Either that or it's a perfect rush thing. First we'll look at this attack here. That just looks like a Y slash, or however you call it, or an EI slash. I don't know how it's called, but oh well. Okay, so your standard A button poke into, that looks weird. Is that a Fade Slash? It doesn't look like a Fade Slash. Fade Slash is a little more off the ground, but maybe it is. Maybe they just kind of link the Fade Slash a little bit differently now, because it moves a very similar distance. It's slashing in a similar way too, and you can still do your kind of combo there. Does he glow after the Fade Slash or before the Fade Slash? Hold on. If he glows, then it's probably okay. So that's probably part of your Spirit Slash combo. You can just directionally orient it a little more now. Maybe not though, because that's a different Spirit Slash. Yeah, that seems to be just completely different. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what that is. That's your standard Spirit. So maybe if you hold a direction while you're Spirit Slashing, though that feels like it could be a little unwieldy if you're trying to do a Spirit Slash and it just takes you over to Timbuktu. I don't know though. Again, we'll have to see. That could have just been a Fade Slash into part of your Spirit Slash. But he's glowing here and there, which is actually pretty standard. Your character would glow to release some of your energy. So I guess that's fine. Here though, again, here's that white thing. I really hope that that is not just a counter, because if that's the case, then they're going to be all over the place and you're going to be clashing. And maybe clashing is like a quick time event and you have to actually win it, and it's not just a you clash and you win. Either that or it's just the spirit gauge going up. It looks white, so maybe it's just level 1, but I don't think so because it showed it only being red. We'll see. Another poke into the X attack, into a... How was the timing on that? Okay, it's actually pretty generous. No, not generous, just standard. So it glows white there. We can't really tell though because he did just a dodge that, evade that. Finishes there. Again, we can't really tell because the monster flinches all the time. However, he does finish it up, which is pretty standard. Again, he's glowing white there. Yeah, we can't really tell what that glowing is though. All right, so we can either do the R button, ZR button, or the X button. The X button, I believe, is what they do here. So it starts to kind of build up passively spirit gauge. What does he combo from here though? I think that's your Fade Slash. That's maybe not. That looks awfully a lot like a Fade Slash. He doesn't glow there either. So maybe they've reworked the Fade Slash to be a little more involved. No, he glows. Does he glow? Again, I can't tell if that's like weird artifacting. No, he glows a little bit. So maybe your Spirit Slash just takes you all over the place now. I mean, if so, that's fine. You know, a lot more movable. And that might be the trade-off. So now that your Spirit Slashes are a lot more mobile, the buff you get from it might not be as good. It might just boost your attacks now. Or, well, it always boosted your attacks. It just might be lesser. It might be similar to Valor instead, where you get a longer buff. But it's kind of an in-between of all of the buffs you got before. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, he finishes here. Either that's a Spirit Fade Slash. I don't believe that's been a thing before. So it might just be a Spirit Fade Slash. So it's a little different from your regular Fade Slash. We'll have to keep an eye out for the Fade Slash. Oh, wait. No. There's the white one. Okay. So maybe that's what they were getting before. They go into white. They glow white, right? Okay. So maybe that's what it is. We'll see if they glow red here. So X. What is that one? Hold on. That's one of the R button attacks, I believe. No, that's the... It's a similar animation to the... You press A, go into ZRB, and then you'll do the X attack. That's a very similar animation to that. But that's just an X attack moving forward. It just has a slightly different animation now. Moves you forward a little. Wait a second. Hold on. He's holding it over his head with both hands. Seems a little bit more into it. But that, again, might just be new animation. We'll see. Again, it throws me off because some weapons have completely new animations for attacks like this one. He glows here, and it's a very slight glow. Maybe you just now glow when you execute an attack, just to show the timing for attacks. That's interesting if that's the case. But yeah, you saw that there. And he did it again, didn't he? Yeah, he did it again. So maybe that's just a natural game mechanic where when you execute an attack, you glow. So you know the timing for it. And maybe it is just timing on your attacks. I don't know how I feel about having a timing to boost your attack damage. Because then that makes it feel a little bit too much like a rhythm game. And you feel like you're losing out on damage to let an animation play out for a little bit longer to get a dodge or something like that off. But he finishes this here. Does he glow red? I believe he does. Yeah, he glows red. Okay, so before, whenever he was flashing at the end of his spirit combo, he was just going up to white. Now he's up to red. He glows red. That's a very weird attack. It's pretty nice though. So apparently you can combo out of your... Oh, okay. So gonna compare it to something. You probably have no idea what I'm comparing it to. Beast Prowler. It's a little bit different still though, but Beast Prowler had a similar system where once you got to the end of your combo, you would charge up your claws, go into an aerial assault, and if you hit that, you would go up a level. Similar to Longsword, where you hit the end of your combo, you'll go up a level. At the end of finishing all of your combos and getting up to level 3, which is what he does here, except he can do it immediately after. But once you reach level 3, then if you hit your combo finisher again, instead of going up another level and just, finishing the combo there, you'll be able to come back down to the ground while swirling around with your claws. That's what this reminds me of, where you finished all of your combos, you're up to your final level, and now you can finish with some other attacks after, which is pretty neat. So maybe you're supposed to, and I guess I should really watch what attacks consume spirit here, because that doesn't actually consume spirit, does it? Yeah, that doesn't consume spirit. Did the finisher consume spirit? Yeah, we got the finisher here, or not the finisher. Attack before the finisher. overhead. Into that. Okay, so that does consume it. But as soon as you finish that, is it infinite? Hold on, we'll see. It's not infinite. Wait a second. Hold on now. Okay. So, theory, and this might immediately be broken, but once you reach red, it immediately fills your bar. And similar to something like, I believe, Tempest Axe? No. What is it called? The Hunter art that you used for your Switch Axe to fill the gauge on it, but as long as the Hunter art would slowly drain, but as long as the Hunter art was still active and wasn't out of energy, you could infinitely use your sword mode. Maybe that's what it is. Once you reach your red bar on this, you can use your spirit attacks as much as you want until the timer ends. We'll see here though. Yeah, that's what it looks like, because it was not going down at all. I believe that's why they showed that, to show that you have a timer now to get as much damage out with this as long as you have the bar for it and your attacks are beefed up. That's pretty cool. Okay, you have focus mode. This looks to be just in standard white mode. His sword is glowing white. But just some pretty standard attacks. That's pretty cool. Again, he's glowing white though at the end, and that's not executing an attack or something. So maybe that's a clash. I would be a little safer to say that it's a clash at the end. Just because, sorry, I'm focusing here. But just because it is at the end there and it is in focus mode. So I'd say maybe that's more of a clash. You know, the monster runs straight up to you, tries to attack you, and you've already got your sword up. So you just stop them. Okay, what else do we have? All right, we've got the standard, you know, sheath into spin. Helmbreaker. Oh, it's got a little more though, but that might be your Helmbreaker in your red mode. Got to see if it's actually, or if he's in his red mode yet. No, it looks to be white mode, so never mind. Your Helmbreaker might just have a standard finisher. And maybe that's a spirit finisher for Helmbreaker. It's just taking a little longer. This is your critical juncture, looks like. Something similar. So that's pretty neat. Something else to note, it looks like the worm guy is actually exhausted because there's saliva coming out. Yes, okay, so that's a spin move. That finishes off with your standard spirit finisher. So... huh. Yeah, that's most definitely a guard point because you hold for it. Right? He's not holding it behind his head. No. He's holding it behind his head, but it still might be a guard point. Okay, that'll be interesting to see because maybe it is a perfect rush thing or maybe it is a guard point. Either way, that is the finisher for longsword. So some new stuff with it looks pretty neat. Again, we'll have to see how some of this stuff is because there's a lot of flashing there that I have no idea what that actually is. Okay, we're getting through them. Charge blade. Okay, so once again, some new stuff, some stuff I'm not sure about. That's just your standard charge attack. We'll see how this goes. Okay. So that's your standard morph attack. Pretty simple. You have just, I believe that's your XA attack. It's just X. Kind of what it looks like. But it might just be tapping A too. That looks like it's just tapping A. Or either that or X. Either one of them. Well, and then you get that, which I think is tapping A, so it might just be your A attack. I'm not sure. You go into the charge. Attack there. You can do the slide. Pretty standard charge blade stuff. You charge here. Again, player is flashing randomly for seemingly no reason. Look at the sword. It's glowing. It's not glowing. It's glowing. It's not glowing. So I don't know what is the okay, well, no. Maybe they just edited a bad UI over the actual events playing out. No, okay, never mind. Player charges the sword. I'm sorry. I completely ignored that part. So no, they glue for a reason there. Now the sword actually glows. I think it always did that though. I'll charge the shield with it, or charge the files with it. And what? Okay, it's talking about X mode first. I thought it was talking about shield mode and then X mode, but no. So something to note here, as the player swings, I believe that's just an X attack, though it could, well, actually consumed a file, didn't it? Had to have, yeah. So it goes into that, consumes a file, and your second A button attack. Okay, it's standard. I thought it, okay. Sorry, I'm misjudging things here. I'm just assuming things. I thought it was the pizza cutter. So randomly, if you're not charged, you get the pizza cutter, but I guess not. Alright, so back away. Standard. Yeah, no, that's just standard switch axe stuff. It's not a switch axe, it's just charge blade. I'm sorry. AED. You get a finisher from the AED though. Normally you can't really do much after it, so that's pretty nice. Maybe. What do you do after AD? Yeah, you can't really do much after AD in the older games, so that's pretty nice. We'll do an AD into looks like just an A button tap, finishing off with the circle. So she's holding the switch or the charge blade in a weird animation here. Is that a? It's not glowing at any point, so I'm guessing it's not a guard point or a clash point. Yeah, I'm not seeing it glow at any point, so it's probably just a weird animation. So loading into a morph attack, into an AED. Nope. Wait a second. Okay, that's charging the shield actually. Yeah. All right, and then charging the sword. Okay, pretty standard. All right, focus mode. So I'm pretty sure it's obvious we can charge the axe because the axe icon is there. I would be a little sad if they just had gotten rid of completely Savage Axe. It's still there. They didn't show, unless they showed at the end, of actually charging up the axe. So I found that pretty interesting. Wait a second. Hold on now. Oh, no, they just glow blue. Okay, I was going to say, why is it glowing blue there? That reminds me of Valor. No, it just glows like that naturally. Okay. I will say that the UI does look a little washed out. I'm hoping we can, like, up the contrast. Again, nitpick, but I do like, I like high saturation. I like GU type stuff and stories type stuff, but the standard does look a little washed out. It is contrasted enough compared to just the, you know, empty one that you can tell the difference, but against something like this background, you know, you see the grass over here, if you can see my mouse, and the background over here, it does kind of blend in. I think it'll, well, it can be fine. It depends on who's playing, I guess, but just a nitpick. We'll see how it actually is. Focus mode seems to try to focus more of your regular standard sword attacks, comboing into your morph attacks. So that's pretty cool. There's your Savage Axe. I don't know if you can do that without charging your X mode, or if you have to have it charged to be able to do that. They didn't show charging the X, so that's odd. There's a guard point, so that's pretty nice. Again, if it has a shield, it probably has a guard point. Wait a second, hold on, it glue. Is that even a word? I guess it, maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so we go into the Savage Axe. And as the Savage Axe is coming out, it glows. Now, it wasn't glowing before. Maybe she loaded the shield or the axe. Or that's just a revving up and it's just glowing for some reason. Again, I'm looking into the stuff sometimes too deeply. All right, there's your guard point. That's what we were looking at. Okay, so guard point. How long do you have before that actually takes effect? All right, so she's running forward, holding R. This seems to be the point where the animation changes, so probably taps R here. Animation goes up. Similar kind of to Adept to Guard. It's a little bit quicker though, but it seems to be fairly, if this is the point where it collides, it seems to be, well, I don't know. This, how close is that? All right, doesn't seem to move. Okay, she seems to move here, so this seems to be the point where it collides. So if we're going off YouTube framing here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 frames, maybe. Again, it's YouTube, so we can't really completely figure that out, especially considering I don't think these are exactly frames, but I could be wrong here. Either way, you get your guard point. Well, that's pretty nice. Again, seems fairly generous if it is 8 frames. Charges into Savage Axe. There's your Savage Axe charge. Okay, they didn't show it on the UI, but that is very clearly Savage Axe charging. Right around there. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so that's confirmed at the very least. There's the back attack. Again, I'm not sure if these back attacks are going to be very good at all. Attacking the side leg there, body-ish. I don't know what that would be considered. If it's just using the sword attack, number one, does it take into account a charged sword? Number two, again, how strong is that going to be? Wouldn't you rather use the axe? Can you use the axe? Is it different depending on what mode you're in? Is it different depending on what button you press? I don't know. But it, you know, that uses 3 hits of sharp, or actually just use 3 hits, I believe. Hold on. Does she start with sheathed? Yeah, she starts sheathed, which again, it could be either way. It could be if you're unsheathed, you can still attack in whatever mode you like, but here it seems the default is just sword mode. Yes, he flinches, and maybe it is a guaranteed flinch. Maybe it just doesn't put out that much damage, but it's a guaranteed flinch. I don't see the use of that unless you're hunting with other players and you have like 3 great swords ready to charge on the face, but then it would have noticed them, so it's not a back attack anymore. I don't know. Just spinning axe, that was after the AED, I believe. It's the same attack, seems like. So that's pretty cool. This time it looks like it has Savage Axe though. Into your, okay, so maybe you can AED, press the A button again. Maybe, couldn't you always do that though? Couldn't you AED into a spin? So I'm probably just overthinking it then. So you can AED into a spin into your SAED, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, and there's switch axe, I'm sorry, charge blade. So there's some new stuff here. There's also a lot that's the same. The weapon itself is a lot of combo links anyways, so I can see why they didn't really want to touch maybe or change too much stuff. You know, there's a little bit of changes here, but not as much as the other weapons. So yeah, either way, it looks pretty nice. It's going to be a fun weapon. Okay, hammer. Okay, so some stuff that's neat. Not really much there new. So looks like, and again, we're glowing in weird spots. You glue here, I believe, at the end of the attack. At the end of the attack, which is weird. Maybe it's indicating when you can attack again. Wait, that's a step. So maybe you can actually step in between attacks. Maybe I'm just imagining the glow again. Okay, I guess I'm just imagining the glow sometimes. All right, well, that's fine. So X button attack. And was that a step or was that just the monster dragging along? Hold on. Let's see. I can't tell there. I could see it either way. They did not really choose a great thing to show here. Let's, frame by frame, see if the legs are moving on the player. No, legs are moving. Bug, please. Okay, so again, if this is not just poorly framed, we'll see if it happens later in the trailer as well. But it seems like you can press your X attack, position, and maybe X attack again, or press X in position, kind of move before. I don't know. Again, that doesn't seem like a very consistent thing to do. So maybe that was just the monster moving her. We'll see. Either way, you have your first X attack. And again, yeah, that looks, see, because that's where the dust cloud was. This is where the attack ends. And he moves perfectly with, is that an attack? Does the tongue drag you along? That's an interesting attack if it does that. But it could be either one. That's an odd attack though. But we'll go with it just being a sidestep for now, so that's nice. But sidestep into another X attack, into your golf swing. So that's pretty cool. Doesn't look like you can do much other than maybe just charge again like you could before out of it, but still, standard X attacks are there. You have your charge. I assume that's just a level 1 charge. The charging is sometimes just so much less pronounced, and sometimes it is overly pronounced. So again, I don't know what some of these flashes are sometimes. That looks like just the level 1 charge. You have your wire dash. This is a lot less. And the way the monster is attacking, I don't know how effective this is going to be. Let's see how quick it moves. So you already start moving out of throwing it, like here. So it's not just the movement you get from it pulling you. You also move a little bit too, so it's better to just look at it in general. And yeah, it's about a little bit more than a dodge. It keeps your charge level, which is the important part, but you do not get iframes, I'm going to assume, or super armor. You might get super armor from it, because that's how the wire dash did, or how the breaking dash was, I believe, in Rise. Maybe it wasn't. I think it did, though. Yeah, it had to have. Either way, yeah, you have that. I'm curious if you can just do this as much as you want. Probably. It just consumes stamina, and since you're already charging, you're consuming more stamina. So that's probably the trade-off. You consume some stamina, but you can move a little faster. It looks inefficient, but it is definitely more efficient. It's just the fact that you're looking at when it hooks onto the ground and pulls you instead of the entire animation. If you look at the entire thing, yeah, you move pretty quickly. But you can, keep charging while doing that. Finish, release the charge. That's cool. Standard charge finisher. Okay. Did I see a reticle there? No, I did. Okay. That's just saliva. That's not a reticle. That's just saliva. Okay. It looked like a reticle. I don't know why I thought it looked like a reticle. But there you go. Okay. Knockout. That's cool. Here's Big Bang. Now, and that's what made me think maybe the tongue just pulled her along. That was a specific Chotacabra attack. I believe that's what he's called. Because watch this here. And maybe it has super armor. Watch this. Okay, so the tongue comes down, slides, similar to kind of Puke's grab, or no, Puke's tongue attack. Moves off, hits the hunter, kind of moves a little bit. Doesn't really do much else though. So again, it might have super armor, because if it doesn't, then that attack seems like it's worthless. Get a flinch. Either that or they're, using super armor for their little display thing and cheating a little bit, but oh well. All right, he gets finish of the Big Bang. This is focus mode, just kind of a spinning finisher type attack, similar to that. Again, similar to Greatsword, Hammer likes to play for lower sharpness weapons but higher raw, because it is more single strike hit and run playstyle. So I don't know how efficient that's going to be. It has to be it has to have some pretty good damage or have a very high stagger rate to probably want to be usable. since you are using that much. There's a reason you don't use the spin finisher out of charge too much, because it consumes a lot of sharpness. It's nice to use to get to your golf swing, but if you're not wanting, if you're not really starving to get to your golf swing and you're wanting to conserve sharpness, then you're just going to do your standard attacks to get to golf swing and not worry about finishing it off. Granted, in Freedom Unite, it's a lot easier to do a spin into a golf swing because you're not having to stand there for too long, but that's Freedom Unite. It's a very special game. Either way, yeah, finishes that into a big hit, and that might be where the important part of the damage comes from, because that seems like a pretty meaty hit. Again, we can't tell when the monster flinches because most of the time it's probably staged. That looked like a big golf swing. So I'm wondering if maybe that is a charged golf swing or a clash. This looks like the tongue attack it was doing earlier that did absolutely nothing. And unfortunately, the clip spawns in while the player is doing something that looks to be maybe a charge. Again, that could be a charge, or it could be the end of an attack. Kind of looks like a charged golf swing, to me. Could be really anything. There's not enough time to tell. Other than that, that is a golf swing for sure. So either it's a focus mode golf swing, a charged golf swing, which would be very cool. It would give it a little bit of an edge over Big Bang because it uses less hits to get to. Or it's just a weird focus mode finisher that looks similar to golf swing and uses similar animations. You have more slide dashes. No, that's different. So maybe that's a charged Big Bang. So maybe you have a charged golf swing and a charged Big Bang. Okay, so maybe if you're charging, you can do your standard attacks out of it and you don't have to just do the finisher that releases ZR. Either way, some interesting stuff. Definitely looking forward to the slide dash and maybe those repositioning steps, though I'm thinking that's just a weird monster player model hitbox thing that happened. Either way, we'll be right back. Okay, light bowgun time. Okay, so some new stuff for sure. Let's go ahead, get to where the actual stuff. So I can't tell if everything is rapid fire now, or I don't know. We'll see, because I saw a double volley of rapid fire later on. Oh, just some standard fire attacks. That's a very quick reload, by the way. Over here. Is the bowgun glowing, or is that's just the shot? Okay, we're good. So yeah, very, very, very quick reload. Now, I don't know, again, if that's just a standard thing for this specific weapon, or that's a standard light bowgun thing. We'll see. It's probably just normal ones, if I had to guess. But still, don't know if everything's rapid fire or not. So that was 3. Yeah, see, that was 2. Okay, so we have 3. 1, 2, 3. And then that just 1, 2. So I didn't hear, and obviously you're probably not going to hear the ammo swapping sound effect. But that only shot 2 out. Maybe it was only 1, actually. Maybe it was a pellet shot or something. Or a shrapnel shot. Maybe those are the same thing. I don't think they are, though. I think the bowgun actually shot twice, though. 1, 2. Okay, yeah, it shot twice, though. So that one was a double round. So I'm going to say it's probably different ammo type. It's 3. 1, 2, 3. Get the sliding step. Cool. It happened again. Hold on. Wait. Did we get the... No, we didn't. So maybe after a reload, you can only shoot 2, but you have a fast reload instead. I don't know. But yeah, that's interesting that in both clips, after a reload, You only shoot 2 shots. That's odd. You have a rapid fire energy here. So this is, I believe, similar to a Valor shot, but it probably just uses your standard ammo. I don't know though. Well, yeah, it has to, because it just charges up your shots. So you can shoot and step. Actually, you step before shooting, so you step and shoot. So that's pretty nice. Nice movement option. You know, light bow gun is a very nimble weapon, so this just makes it even more nimble. So that's pretty nice. But yeah, I don't see anything different other than that. And yeah, it is another gauge move, so you will expend gauge while you're using this. It doesn't actually use that much, so this might be the main play style of just trying to fill that up as quickly as possible. I wonder if focus actually increases the charge on that. Probably, right? Because, you know, it does it for switch axe and other stuff too. So probably, since your attacks do actually charge it up faster. And then you finish off there, and that is your rapid fire. So is that always on the finishing attack? Can you only do it for the clip you have currently inside? But you'll go here, you'll go into a crouching fire, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 maybe bullets fly out physically, so we can see. We'll see here. Actually seems to be quite a few of them. Okay, yeah, here we go. Do they actually interact with the ground? That's cute. They don't just fall through. Maybe they didn't do that more. Okay, so we have 1 bullet, 2 bullets, 3 bullets, 4 bullets, and then a 5th final big shot. They're all the same bullets though. So you'll shoot 5 shots out at the end there. Don't know if they're supercharged or anything like that, or if it's just 5 bullets. Yeah, and then you'll have to reload. Again, I don't know. It's not really similar to Siege, actually. Just kind of a weird finisher. So there's another thing. Your volley there, I don't know what ammo type this is, but the volley actually has 2 quickly and then another one that takes a little longer to come out if you listen. So that's interesting too. Again, you can recharge your gauge by actually attacking and hitting the monster. That's pretty cool. I wonder if your Wyvern ammo actually, or your Wyvern blast actually refills too. But that's nice. Again, gives you something to play for that isn't just waiting for cooldown and then using it. And of course, light bowgun only had the Wyvern blast and stuff instead of the bar. So this is another new thing for light bowgun to have to deal with. Not deal with in a bad way, deal with, I believe it'll be in a good way at the very least. It gives you a DPS chance if it is going to be good and, you know, not weird. So it says make use of many ammo types with a variety of effects, and instead of showing something like a piercing shot or a pellet shot, or not shrapnel, spread's what it's called, it shows your Wyvern blast instead, which I think is odd. I would think it would maybe show pierce and then use the Wyvern blast or something like that, so it's not just normal shots, but oh well, that's nitpicking. Back away, and then you have the player shoot something out here, I believe. Now, what is that? Is that a cluster? It's a fairly large shell that comes out. I can't see what comes out of that, though. Shoots it out and just explodes. So I don't know what that is, because what explodes is the Wyvern blast. So maybe it's a cluster shot, or maybe it's just shooting out another one for a counter mine, like in World. I guess it's also in Rise too, but because you have that, and then you shoot out that big one, and maybe that's that single ammunition, because you had the big one and you had 3 smaller ones, so maybe that's what that is. Wait a second, hold on, and then player shot again. Hold on, we'll see. Okay, come on. Going frame by frame is not always the most efficient. Okay, here we go. Yeah, shot again. I don't know what that is though. We can't really tell. All right, focus mode. See, and here's the thing. So I'm guessing you can use your Wyvern blast now for this specifically too. That doesn't look like a Wyvern blast. It looks like it pierces. So it might just hit multiple times instead, actually. So maybe you only get one Wyvern Blast, but you can reload it, or you can detonate it at range. And that's what the shooting animation is. That doesn't make any sense though. Because I mean, technically you could always, oh wait, there's the shot. Okay, I was looking for that. Okay, so you shoot the thing out. That does not look like a Wyvern Blast. Another thing is that it spawns fairly far away from you. It goes away, it explodes, knocks him over. Then there's the mount finisher. Again, player is glued to the monster. Knocks it over. That's just your... Can you... Oh, that's interesting. So that might be actually the finisher. So if you're moving during the finisher, then it's longer. And you finish it. Either that, or that is just you pressing maybe the B button along with holding the direction and shooting. Maybe that's like an extended evade. This is the finisher. That's the finisher on the rapid fire energy. Again, I don't know how that works, if there's a specific button combo you press for it, but yeah. Again, not much. It is a bowgun, so it's gonna be hard to tell until you actually get your hands on the game, but looks interesting. The rapid fire energy looks fun. Okay, sword and shield. Okay, so right off the bat, a lot of the moves seem changed here. They might be variations of just being able to move with an older move, but we'll see here. Okay, so X attack, that's just your standard, you know, X button. And that's kind of a fade slash, which is neat for sword and shield for sure. Maybe that is just pressing X again, but tapping a button with it. Maybe you can dodge. Maybe it's like, you know, being able to use items, except you can dodge while attacking. I doubt that, but that looks fairly interesting. And you can even, man, that's a lot of reach on that attack. Yeah, I mean, the blade isn't even hitting the monster. So that is quite a bit of reach on that attack. So that's pretty nice. You can see kind of where the animation ends here, and it goes into the other one. And then you go with that cut, which again, you would think it would, you know, go diagonally downwards from where it's at now. But it actually goes diagonally in the other direction. It goes technically diagonally downwards, but it's more of an overhead. So it feels more like a rapier, which is what, you know, World was trying to get it a little more into with like the turning slashes and stuff like that. But it for sure feels a lot like that because it's just very quick attacks. There's your shield bash. Fairly standard fare there, but you can follow it up with a sliding slash. Now your sliding slash, not only does it look like it can be used without a slow, but also feels fairly longer and maybe even more maneuverable than the older one you had, which is nice. And you can also just keep comboing at it a lot more. See, now that's the standard sword and shield fare. Not that attack. That's a very, again, they really polished up the animations here if these are old attacks because, you know, player is moving around quite a bit. But, you know, you have the standard sword and shield fare, X, X. Maybe that's your A button attack when you're just standing there. Maybe they've ramped or revamped those attacks. Because yeah, and then you have this weird attack. Again, they come from such weird angles. You're not used to seeing sword and shield used like that, but it's very welcome. See that? Okay, that's not a guard point, it's just a shield. And there is no adept guard or anything like that, so that's fine. You get knocked over. Again, there's that tongue attack again. That tongue attack looks incredibly weak. The times that we've seen it before, the hunter hasn't even been hit by it. And this time, they just kind of get knocked over and stumble backwards. Okay, that's another thing. So as the player uses the shield, as she does that, she completely stops. Now, it could just be that she pressed the button too quickly for it to actually matter. But maybe you can't move with your shield out anymore. I doubt that though. That seems like a weird thing to take away. I use that, and it looks like you're standard walking while using the shield. So for those of you that don't know, at the very least in World, I don't know if Rise changed it, but if you use an item while your sword and shield is out, you can only walk with it. I don't know if that's still the case here, or if this is technically running. It looks to be a little bit faster though, so that's pretty nice. Now this, right before she goes into focus mode, this is interesting. So either this is a transition to focus mode, or this is kind of a quick walking animation that Sword and Shield now has. It walks faster. That would be pretty cool. Because again, look, right before that, and another thing is that, listen to that sound effect. Is that a focus mode sound effect, or is that the music in the background? That's a weird sound effect for music, so that might be the focus mode. It sounds like a bow being drawn back. Immediately goes into that. You can see it there because the sword is ready. You're aiming with the reticle. Kind of like a lance, except now you're grabbing onto the monster. Just a jab with like the lance. And then this seems to be similar to aerial style. Instead of vaulting onto the monster, instead you'll, grab onto the monster. And maybe you can sword slash up into the air too. This specifically is an uppercut with the shield. Don't ask me how the physics work on this. She's completely out of the monster with her main sword here, and the shield would in theory just kind of throw you back to the ground as you slam into the monster, but it's Monster Hunter, you can't really expect that. Then she goes into a sword slam or a shield slam, so that's pretty cool. I wonder if that has any AoE on it. I don't know, that's a weird question. You see the shockwave here at the end, but at the very least in 3 Ultimate, this is a weird little thing. Hammer had a shockwave effect on its slam, its super slam, if I can not bump the mic too much. And when you slammed on the ground, you saw a little shockwave, and that did actually deal damage. It was just a very little tiny amount, but it was still technically a thing. I wonder if that's a thing here. It's perfect rush. That is either a clash or a guard point. Okay, so just running, looks like. This is just the standard sword and shield running into immediately a guard. And the only thing that makes me think this is a clash, even though there's no focus mode target, is that the camera is a little weird. Like, what is this camera? Why is the camera looking odd? And it's always this weird tongue attack that things happen. So I don't know. I don't know if that's a clash attack or what. Yeah, no, he's not reacting like it's a clash attack. So it's not a clash attack. It seems to be some form of guard point. Now, I know that the Sword and Shield and Rise had a guard point technically when it did its slash. And maybe that's the same thing here. It just kind of has a guard point. It just doesn't glow until after you get hit. Which is similar to, I believe, gun lances where, you hold the guard button. So maybe it's the same thing. I don't know though. That was an XA slash, I believe. This seems to be maybe a perfect rush finisher. Maybe a type of perfect rush finisher, maybe XA attack or something like that, but pretty cool. It's not as long-winded as the other one, so that's nice as well, just to finish it quickly. So maybe it's a bit stronger per hit, but there's less hits on it. So yeah, and there's Sword and Shield. So very interesting. I am excited to see how nimble this thing can be, because just being able to slash and slide around like that will be very nice for some of the faster monsters like Rajang or something like that. I know Kongolala is in the game, but Kongolala really isn't that difficult half the time. So yeah. All right, switch X. Let's see. Okay, so there are definitely some key things here. That's nice. Right off the bat, so overhead swipe is back. Now that, yes, that's always been a thing. I want to see if this can be done right immediately. It looks like it can be. So that's nice. Something I don't like in World is that you can't immediately go into the overhead swing. You have to do like a chop or something. In Rise, they had actually a stronger version of it. It was a little bit slower, I believe. But I really like the overhead swing because it allows you to, you know, head snipe monsters that are like flying or stuff like that. And it's really nice. It's just a really good single strike, somewhat precision based attack that you can snipe heads with that are high up. And it looks like it is back because this is pretty much the exact same animation. Also, this weapon seems to be either ice or water. It looks like ice though, because those look like shards. Another thing is that, again, weapon range seems to be extended because the sword does not even touch the monster there. Might look a little cleaner when there is actual animation. Yeah, no, not really. Just does not touch the monster at all, but it still goes off. So hitboxes are a little more lenient here. There's the chop from World. So I don't know if maybe just standing still, you'll do the standard one. And if you're holding forward, you'll do the chop. Into the swing. Now, this is usually a rapid morph attack, or not rapid morph. You can use rapid morph forward, though. This is usually a morph attack. But can it, I guess it can maybe be canceled out now. So maybe it's still a morphing attack, but you can complete it into sword mode. Or you can cancel it out with an axe attack. So that's pretty cool. That's very similar to the double A swing from Switch or Charge Blade. Again, I'm gonna get them mixed up because they both have an axe mode and a sword mode. But yeah, this looks very similar to that because it's a double swing, 1, 2, but that one actually goes up into the air, so maybe not. Maybe I'm just thinking of it wrong. Backwards evade again looks a little bit faster than it was in World, so that's nice. Similar to Rise, I think that, no, I don't think it actually was faster than Rise. I'm rambling at this point. So standard sword attacks, looks like you can actually directionally influence this a little more now, as you can see from this little sidestep. It's not much, but Switch X will use whatever it can get movement-wise because it does struggle a little bit sometimes. Just some standard sword swipes there. Into this, that'll boost your charge on getting your sword charged, which is nice. And then we go into focus mode immediately, so apparently there's really just not too much new. This is neat that it uses your axe mode. I'm hoping that axe mode is, you know, still fairly good like it was in Rise. It was pretty nice in Rise, especially with rapid morph boosting the damage and speed of the attacks. Made it very seamless feeling switching between sword and axe mode. So maybe it'll be similar here. And that was immediately into zero sum. So interesting to see you not using the sword until you go into zero sum with focus mode. That's a guard point. And let me tell you this, Switch X loves guard point, or any type of iframe. And this looks fairly simple because this is just the standard walking animation. And as she walks forward, she puts her sword up and clashes. Now, I don't know if this is a clash. It does not look like a clash because the monster isn't really doing much. Maybe it costs sword gauge. Maybe you have to be in sword mode for it to work. Still, having any form of guard point like that just to immediately counter is so good for Switch X because it does just struggle to move. It's similar to Greatsword, except it doesn't have a tackle. And that's why, you know, it has the same type of dodge that's slow and has a lot of end lag on it. So it is nice that there's at the very least something there to kind of combo with and you get some good meaty attacks out of it. So that's nice. That looks like the wire bug. Again, they use a lot of stuff from Rise. It wouldn't look like it because the art style is just so different, but that is the finisher to a Rise attack. Maybe it's just the ending of it because this looks like, I don't know, can't really tell. But yeah, you'll do the swirl into the slam there. And that is a Rise attack for sure. That's the, I don't remember what it's called, but you got super armor during it. It was a very nice attack. So yeah. And then I don't know what that is, but it seems to be using a lot of your energy. Maybe it's similar to zero sum, except you're actually slashing the sword instead of just sticking it into the monster. So that's pretty cool. Probably uses a lot of sharpness though, if it's actually using files. Because I mean, look at the sword. It's just completely supercharged at that point. So yeah, pretty cool. Not really much new, but the stuff that's there is pretty neat. All right, bow. Okay, so the biggest thing here for me is adept dodge being back. I love adept dodges. Like, I absolutely love adept dodges. So that's pretty cool. But let's get a little more into it. So I will make note of this. The most I have played bow is Rise, because bow and Rise was just completely overpowered. You got the quick power shot, which shredded monsters completely. Like, I remembered one time I was fighting a monster in multiplayer, and I killed the monster using bow. It was a dual monster quest, and I killed the monster by myself using bow, not bull. That's a weird weapon. Bashing people over the head with a bowl, that would be interesting. But I killed the monster that I was fighting solo before the other three had killed the monster they were fighting, and they were fairly equal terms. I don't remember specifically what the monsters were, but they were on equal terms, and just completely shredded whatever monster I was fighting before the other three actually finished it off. And that just showed me how broken bow was in Rise. They toned it back more in Sunbreak, and I didn't use it as much because Lance just got completely buffed beyond oblivion, which was so nice. So I'd really just stuck to Lance there, but I think it was still good in Sunbreak. It just wasn't as good as it was in Rise. But right off the bat, you have a rapid shot, and I know this scaling, the charge scaling and stuff is very interesting. So you see a flash there, that's a little charge, probably just an attack into another one, and as you can see, the charge is not scaling. So that's interesting. Is that a pierce? Oh, that's a spread shot. Maybe it is scaling. Maybe it's just not very visible scaling. Hold on. So it looks like the bow flashes kind of there. Could be the lighting engine though. And at the end here, again, they may have just toned back to what it looks like when the bow actually charges up, because that kind of flashes there, but it is a metal bow, so it's kind of hard to tell. But it does what looks to be a rapid shot. Hold on. Go all the way back, please. Thank you. All right, so it looks like a rapid shot. So just a single arrow. Looks like a spread shot. So maybe there are shot types back. I don't know though. But for now, we're going to assume it's not different from World, because that could be a flash. The artifacting is just terrible. I forgot. I have to turn this all the way up. Even at 1440 though, it's just still not great. Okay, there we go. That looks a little better. So maybe we can tell if it's actually glowing or not. It's this frame here that looks a little odd, but I don't think we can assume. I don't know why it would be so hidden from you actually being able to see. So maybe it's charging. We're going to assume it works the same way, just because I can't really tell. So there's a spread shot. So you have a rapid shot, looks like, into a spread shot. Yeah. So single collision there right in the middle of the forehead. Into multiple collisions, looks like. Yeah. So you have one there, two there, maybe four actually. The bow is right in the way, so I can't really tell there. Yeah, you can't really tell too easily. And then the final one, which seems to have multiple arrows actually loaded. No, it's actually just one, but it'll have multiple. And then this one will have more. Looks like a scatter, yeah, scatter shot 5 or 4. Maybe it is 4. No, it's 5. Okay, so looks like a rapid 1 into a spread 3 or spread 2. I don't remember what the charge levels actually produce. Maybe spread 3 is the 5 and spread 2 is the 4 or the 3. Wouldn't make sense if it wasn't, but either way, yeah, that's what that looked like. Okay. Is this is just power coding. Okay. Only shows 8. I'm not going to make any claims off of that because it didn't show the ammo counter. I'm going to assume that. Okay, so we can either assume that 1, you have infinite and you can only load 8 at a time, or 2, they only had 8 in this clip. We're going to assume that they only had 8 in this clip. All right, so 1. See, now here's the charge. Okay, so if it wasn't charging before, maybe, okay, so maybe they're going into more of the ranged greatsword play style, where you have to charge to get more damage out of stuff, but you can still get to your later levels. That still wouldn't make sense based on, or based off of classic bow. I guess we'll just have to see, because you could be able to just charge all of your shots, but you can also just not charge them and get them out faster with less stamina. Now that looks to be a single arrow. Yeah, just one collision there. And then, yeah, there's the third charge level. Looks like either just a single rapid shot or rapid 3. That's rapid 3 actually, because it spreads into 3 at the end there. The reticle is a bit misleading though, but yeah, they spread. Actually, they spread into 4. Do they? That reticle is very annoying. We're gonna say they spread into 3 because that's what it looks like. I don't know though. I could see it spreading into 4 as well. So maybe that first one actually spread into more. Hold on. It's gonna take forever if I do it like this. Okay, so shot number 1. See, it looks like there's 2, but that could just be animation smearing from the bad compression. Yeah, there's just one collision there. Now there's multiple collisions on that shot. That has to be. That looks like more than one arrow. Is the artifact? No, there's 2 arrows there. So there's rapid 1, rapid 2. And if that's the case, then it's completely different from the first one. And maybe your shot pattern changes depending on whether or not you're charged. If that's the case, because this looks like 4 arrows, either 4 or 3. Okay. What's this one shoot out? Charge arrows to increase their damage. Okay. So yeah, maybe you charge to change what... No, it's not saying that though, so I don't know. Hold on. How many is this one shooting out? Just 1. No, wait. Is that 3 or 1? Or does the arrow just split off? I can't really tell here. There's like a weird distortion effect. No, see, yeah, it looks like that's 3. So maybe your shot pattern does change on whether or not you charge. Wait, but no, that was the ending charge. Okay, no. So we're being consistent. What we shoot out changes whether or not we charge. Okay. So then we're assuming it's like old bow. I don't know what the first one was and why it did scatter shots, unless those are specifically power shots. So I guess I'll just be quiet and we'll see. That was just a standard one. Into another one. There's the dodge. What does the dodge shoot out? It seems to have increased the charge level because the bow is red now. Hold on, we'll see. What do you shoot out? I don't know why YouTube is taking forever to load. Alright, comes out from a weird angle, but that's okay. It's a spread shot, so maybe that's a power shot. Oh, it comes out from a weird angle because it's a spread shot. So I'm guessing that's an A button tap. So maybe your rapids or your just standard R, and then your A button taps are going to be power shots. Okay, so there's just a standard shot. Very cool. There's the slide. What does this shoot out? See, that looks like 2. Look at that. There's multiple little feather things on the end there. I don't know what they're called. So that looks like 2. Possible it's not, and it's just weird distract or artifact and stuff like that, but it looked like 2. And then we have a full charge going off. Into this weird jump. Okay, that's a weird jump. Is it still shooting out pierces though? Or not pierces, spreads? Yeah, it shoots them out, but in a different pattern. So that's interesting. Maybe if you have a head that's more shaped like that, like Rathalos, might be easier to hit. Oh, wait, no. That's another thing too. It kind of clusters them together. So if you're trying to hit a wing or something, it would be easier to hit it like that, or a face. So that kind of consolidates your spread shots together, makes them more likely to hit closer together. So that's nice. I don't really know what the jump attack is for, unless it does apply mount, which will be interesting, but oh well. All right, so here's the tracer. Now, I don't know if this specifically has its own like damage values, and every arrow you put into it makes it deal damage, but the arrow itself does not, or the arrows just hit the monster and the tracer eventually just explodes over time. Maybe it's that. I'm probably thinking too much into it if that's the case. But I could see it being like a worm stake or whatever it is, where you stick it in. It's not, no, it's the slinger burst one, where you stick it into the monster and it stays there and you shoot the gunlance ammo at it. Not the one you stick in and it explodes over time. And that's interesting. Okay, so what's the charge level on the spill right now? All right, so good. That's just a level 1, and there's a spread, or sorry, a rapid 3 or a rapid 2, something like that. I don't remember. Maybe it's rapid 3 and then rapid 4 is 4 shots. So that's interesting. That didn't seem like it had a charge on it. So unless they're just making weird UI decisions sometimes, I don't know. What's the second shot shootout? Unless it was like spread 3. It's power shot. See, that one shoots out 4 actually. Oh no, it's the spread shot. So that's neat. So you can make your spread shots actually fly into the monster. I don't know if that's going to lessen the damage. Maybe it will. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, and there you go again with the spread shots just all coming in there. Again, kind of feels like it defeats the purpose of spread shots, but also makes it maybe not sting as badly that you're forced to have spread shots if it is like World's Bow, where your power shots are always just spread. So I guess we'll see. We'll see, because there's a lot of stuff that's just hard for me to tell because I'm not a bow player. And Dragon Piercer, obviously. And the way I guess I saw World Bow was that technically you did have all 3 shot types. You had rapid from your regular ZR tap, you had your spread tap from your A, and then your Dragon Piercer was your Pierce type. Unfortunately, Pierce just kind of got shafted because of that, and it wasn't very good. But I don't know. Oh well. If that's how they wanted it to go, then I guess that's how it goes, unfortunately. I do really like Pierce because it is very similar to Prowler playstyle. Bow, I would say, is definitely the closest to Prowler because you have your steps, you can charge, you can attack pretty simply, and then just step out of the way and do something else. And Lance is also similar where it's very simple. You press a single button and then dodge or guard or something like that. So you have your melee weapon that's similar to cats, and then you have your ranged weapon that's similar to cats, even though cats are a ranged weapon themselves. So focus mode, can you only shoot that in focus mode? Because they seem to make that a big deal. And then they do this weird like target thing. I don't know. I guess that's targeting the weak points. That would make sense. Okay, so the arrows look like they stick into them. And then you pierce through and crack the arrows. So maybe they're a hit zone. I don't know. I don't know if they're by hit zone or if there's a specific thing they do. I'm not sure. But it still does damage all the way down. It's not just hitting those other ones. And can it miss the other ones too? That's curious. I don't know. I have an aerial shot there. I don't know what that is. I think that's similar to the wire bug attack. Made him flinch, but we really can't tell that. Another thing that's interesting is that your armor glows when you do the adept dodge and not your player. So that's interesting. And then here's the 1,000 dragons from Iceborne. Just regular bow style though. I doubt you infuse slinger ammo into it, but I don't know. It doesn't look like the hunter is actually doing an animation for that. Yeah, just pulling it back and then shooting it out, which is a spread. I wonder if that actually combos with the tracer. But yeah, there you go. A lot of weird stuff. I can't tell. I'm sorry. I'm not a bow main. I think it's neat. I really liked it in the older games because it was ranged greatsword, but even then I didn't play it that much in older games. So yeah, either way, there we go. And time for the lance, finally. Okay, so for Lance, we have some pretty cool options here. Remember, I am generally a Lance main, especially when it's good, like in Sunbreak. Play it in World too, but World has a lot of pinning attacks that you just cannot flat out block. So it feels kind of bad to use in World sometimes. It feels good to use it some other times too. I absolutely love what they did with leaping thrust and rise, sorry. But right off the bat, guards doesn't have a very high guard level on their hunter here, so gets a lot of knockback, but that's fine because as we see here, we get an adept guard, so that's pretty cool. Again, I'm curious if this is any more than the gun lance, or if it is actually just the same. Would be probably nice if it's the same, because then you can switch between lance and gun lance and have similar feeling guards, but could be less, could be more. So slams again, gets the guard, same thing. And then now we see here, not only is this lance a water lance, because I assume it's the worm thing that they were fighting in the other trailers. Also, another thing is that there's no real blood coming out of the monster, which it's up to you. Again, I'm used to playing Prowler, so I'm not used to seeing blood coming out of the monster, but I know that's a big deal for some other people. I definitely think sparks are weird. It's like rocks flying out of a monster. That doesn't make too much sense, but nitpick over. But we can step between our pokes here, and that's pretty cool. I don't know how that's going to work. If it's going to be like, and there's a backward thrust attacking forward, I'm wondering if it's like that attack from Frontier, where I believe after either a guard or a poke, you can hold backwards and press the X button. Again, talking about Nintendo controls here, and you'll do a thrust forward while dodging backwards. I want to say it hit multiple times. Again, it's been a long time since I've actually played Frontier, so I'm going off memory here, but I believe it hit multiple times, and it was a pretty nice move to just use to disengage a monster. And there's a similar thing that he does here. It's a little bit slower and does a little bit less movement though. But yeah, it'll be nice to have steps here, especially when the monster is just moving a little bit. Like if they're moving towards you a little bit more and you want to try to keep in position with the face, or if you're trying to keep a certain position where you're not going to get hit by the roar when the monster roars and you're right behind it or something like that. So that's nice. And of course, you have your back hop, and again, this moving stuff and the backwards move. Now, here's the interesting thing before that little backwards move. Yeah, right here. So it kind of looks like he goes into a guard. Again, very weird. I doubt it is actually a guard, but the shield is up, like at this point. Very much looks like it's up. So maybe it is a guard. Maybe it's both a guard and an attack and you're just disengaging. So probably won't do much damage if that's the case. Let's look at it at full speed again. So that's pretty neat. Still nice to have a disengaging attack. You can probably do it forward too. Yeah, you can do it forward too. Then you have a finisher. This is a bit of a slippery slope here. So I think it's fine since we can always just kind of counter guard, or at least I assume we can. If we can't, that's not good. But I assume we'll always just be able to counter guard after it, because they did something in GU that was weird for Guild Lance. Your finisher was slower and it hit multiple times, so it ate up a little more sharpness, I believe. So while nicer for element, not so great for just raw play styles and stuff like that. You want your faster poke, especially since you can't counter guard after it. The only time I believe you could actually counter poke after your third poke before World was in Try, and then they just took it away and never gave it back to you again, which is sad, because that's a very good option and it would have made Lights much better in the older games, because you're not having to do two pokes and then hope the monster attacks you so you can counter thrust it and not be left out in the open. But do this here, and then here's the finisher. So he did his third poke and does this little double poke into a big final finisher attack. Again, I'm not sure how that will be on sharpness. Be better for element, of course, than Raw Lance, but Raw Lance was probably fine with it. It depends on how they balance the sharpness and stuff in this game. All right, so that's also a very interesting attack here. So I don't know if that's a bait or what. So we're going to go for neutral here. Looks like he's in neutral at the very least. Maybe not. Maybe he's not neutral. Maybe he just finished an attack. What is that? So maybe that's focus mode, because he's moving awfully weird. That's not a standard move for Lance. Especially considering he immediately goes into the shield tackle thing. The counter. So maybe he's... Okay, so maybe that's a new attack where you bait out an attack. No, because unless that hitbox actually reaches the player there, again, we can't really tell. The shield goes in before, technically. So either it's an attack that waits for the monster to attack to actually counter, and it's specifically for that, because again, look how slow he's actually moving here. And then he does that, and maybe that's always just the thing that's active. I don't know, I can't really tell here. And then you'll be able to immediately counter off. Again, it depends on how that works. He goes into a shield bash. I'm wondering if you press A after you can do a shield bash instead of a poke. I don't know. And maybe he did a shield bash there and it actually activated a guard point. We'll have to see. But he just kind of ended the combo there. He didn't follow up with it. Here's a power guard. Fairly standard power guard. Now, instead of your standard uppercut thrust, you have a, well, I mean, it's still an uppercut thrust, but he puts a little more oomph into it, so I'm sure it'll have more damage, but it has a little more animation commitment too. So we'll see how that is. Again, we like to be able to get into our guard pretty quickly, so we'll see if that makes it feel worse, or if it does actually a lot of damage. I have this here, so now that's an interesting attack. I don't know if we'll be able to counter like after a monster hits us in power guard, or if that's just your standard like X attack instead of uppercutting. Because if you do, I don't remember specifically what you do if you press X. It's been a while since I played power guard. Normally you just do guard advance and rise or some break. So the power guard A button attack is the uppercut or the upper thrust. Here he just kind of did this, which makes me think it's an X attack because it's more horizontal. Either that or he countered out of it, which is interesting if he did. Another thing is that he goes into a charge. Now, I want to say in World, and maybe even in Rise, and I could be getting this completely wrong. Again, I've played a lot of Lance and Sunbreak, but Guard Advance was the more used playstyle, and you hardly ever actually touched Power Guard because it ate a lot of chip damage, or it took a lot of chip damage. But I believe you could actually do a charge out of your power guard, but I could be wrong on that. I don't remember specifically, but he went into a charge there, which seems to hit actually a lot more in this game. Definitely sounds a lot more different when the monster hits, but that's just general hit sound mechanics. And then he does a wide sweep, so that's pretty nice. All right, now focus mode. This is what makes me think that other little thing he did was in focus mode, because he's moving slowly and weirdly here, like not standardly at all. He does the shield uppercut. Again, I'm wondering if that wasn't before a shield uppercut that just got canceled. No, never mind, it wasn't, because this is a completely different animation. And then he does a shield tackle. I'm hoping this doesn't take sharpness, because that is a lot of hits that probably aren't too strong. It is nice that it does do stun though. Into that poke. Now that poke sounds meaty. I'm wondering if it's also multiple hits, because it kind of sounds like it. Look. You can see multiple sparks flying from the monster there. So I'm going to say maybe it's like spiral thrust, or not spiral thrust. What's it called? Yeah, it was spiral thrust. Whatever the thrust was in GU, not the one in Rise where you dragged the wire, or the wire bug dragged you along with it, but the one in GU where you kind of sat similarly like this and then jabbed it into the monster. I don't remember what it was called, but that seems like what it's similar to, especially considering that, because it hits multiple times. So it could be similar to like a guard advance or something like that. And maybe that is a guard advance. Maybe that's a focus mode guard advance. But this seems to be a charge attack out of your counter guard. Does he guard? Yeah, that's a counter guard. That's a standard ZR plus A attack. And it seems like you can charge this now. Either that or that's just the standard animation for it. I know there were charging effects on it, but if you can charge it, that's pretty cool. That's another good way to just kind of get a good charge DPS out, maybe. No, I don't think so, because he throws the shield out actually to counter something. So maybe that'll actually plant you in place too, and lets you throw out another attack. I don't know specifically how it's going to work. Maybe it does plant you in place and it gives you more guard levels, but that looks very fun. Being able to just plant yourself there, charge up, hit him with the shield. The shield is actually a hitbox now, and then hit him with the thing. So it seems more like fisticuffs too, where you're punching the monster with your shield and jabbing them with the lance. A very interesting thing if you go into like Sunbreak or World and you remove whatever lance you're moving or you're using's model. It looks like you're just punching the monster and you're just guarding with your arm. It's a very neat little thing if you have the ability to do that. It's just a little jumping charge finisher, nothing really too special. And there's the clash. I wouldn't have doubted, you know, you use the shield to clash with lance. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to. Wait a second, hold on. Is that the same? Is that the same? Hold on, where are we at here? There's a plateau kind of thing over on the left. Okay, it's a different spot, but this... It's different, but it's very similar. It's very similar, so maybe that's the attack you go into to clash, and if he hits you during that, you'll clash and kick him back. See, look at that. And look at that. So maybe if he hits you there, then you go into that clash animation, you throw him backwards. I don't know, but still a lot of fun stuff looking like this lance, especially those repositioning thrusts that just makes it look so good. Because the thing about lance is that I love the base of the lance. It's just that a lot of times, depending on how strong the monsters are, your guard might not keep up with it, and your damage also might feel a little lackluster. So as long as your mobility keeps up with it, which is, you know, you don't want it too much because then people use evade lance and then you have a whole aspect, half of the weapon that is just not being used. So it seems like they're incrementally boosting it. I hope they keep the guard advance changes because I love guard advance in Sunbreak. So I hope they keep the changes on that, but also give you some other options that are just as strong, if not more strong, for something like raw lance, or even for elemental lance, but just for different scenarios. You know, like in neutral play, you'll use your guard advances to move around, and then once, you know, the monster is like throwing out easier to predict attacks or non-multi attacks, then you can use your standard meteor hits to actually get in there. All right, final weapon, dual blades. Okay, lots and lots of spinning with this one. So right off the bat, we'll go over the moves, what it's using, what I think it's using, what it seems to be using at the very least. This seems to be the opener. So X attack, that seems very similar to Worlds, just standard advancing draw. Pressing X again, very similar. Yeah, this is just standard moveset wise for dual blades. Then, and I like the animation touch up here. It, you know, really feels like the player is actually moving along with it, you know, not just standing there raising up and going, you're moving along with it, which is really cool. Just looking at the UI here, nothing really to see that's different. Goes into the spin. Now what do you follow up with? It just looks like a regular evade, actually. Yeah, just a regular evade into blade dance. Doesn't actually boost your... Actually, did you go out of demon mode? I don't know why you would have, especially because the body is still glowing. Okay, so a blade dance there, and at the end, it looks like there's a charge there, and maybe that charge actually uses up some of your gauge. Either that, or it's just showing that it's going to use up some of your gauge by glowing. This is ridiculous. This is an archdemon mode, and it might be that they are working or tuning up archdemon mode to actually, you know, do more than just be a halfway between regular mode and demon mode. Because I mean, look at this. Number one, the character is just glowing randomly again. I don't know if that is like a counterpoint where if you get hit during that animation, you'll just dodge out of it. Again, I have no idea about that, but we'll see. I mean, just look at this though. This is quick. You have a fade slash now, which is cool. There's a spin. That's pretty standard. Again, I don't know. I want to say that that is actually a counter, maybe. We'll see. But I mean, yeah. Again, I don't know why you would just randomly glow white unless it's just one of those things where you press the button in time, like Sword and Shield. Perfect Rush, you'll get more damage off. It's pretty nice. That's a nice quick evade too. I'm used to the dodge that did damage and rise, so I haven't really seen regular dual blade evades in a while. So that's why I'm thinking to go very far. All right, there's a spin. Now this is focus mode. Nothing's really happening here, so no counters or anything, just a standard focus mode. You know, hit it with the dual blades vault, you get either in GU or Raz. And then you do something here. You're glued to the monster, so it's a scripted animation. She jumps backwards, hooks onto the monster, and then does the world mounting type thing where you spin down the monster. Pretty neat, eats into a lot of sharpness, and if the monster doesn't have a lot of good hit zones, then it's not a great move, but looks pretty cool and is fun to use. And again, more, and maybe we'll see it there, but more just random glowing bits. And I don't know why that is there. We'll have to see, because that is, it's very abundant on some weapons, and on some other weapons, it just does not exist at all, like the bow guns. So I don't know. We'll see. Is she glowing before she dodges? That's the important question. Nah, that just looks like a regular adept evade. I believe that's even in demon mode, not even arch demon mode or archdemon mode. But yeah, that's just a standard evade and you get adapt. So that's pretty cool. Granted, does this deal damage? I think the arm just went in a perfect way to not actually deal damage. And here's the other thing. I don't know, maybe it is archdemon mode because now you're glowing blue. Oh no, maybe if you get the dodge, you boost it. So I believe in GU, they made it so that your adept dodges don't fill up your demon mode gauge whenever you are in demon mode or archdemon mode. I don't remember specifically, but they turned it off in GU from generations because it was a little strong. So maybe that's a thing here where you can actually boost your demon mode. Either that, or if you get an adept dodge due to some specific, you know, having that, you actually get a little boost now, like a Vision Mantle, except your moveset is now augmented. No. That might, I don't know what that is. Maybe it's focus mode, but I don't think it is. But yeah, no, you're just dodging all over the place. So that's probably some very strong iframes then, if I had to guess. Yeah, look at that. So very interesting. That's also neat. Looks like the mount finisher, because the monster's just standing there and falls over at the end. This is also, again, they have just completely touched up dual blades moveset again, which is very cool. I do love me some dual blades sometimes. But I mean, yeah, look at this. And I don't know if this is another scripted attack. Maybe it's the clash. Because just in standard play, unless the monster is literally just standing there doing nothing, this looks like a worthless attack because it's just it's attacking 1 point, yes, but you're moving around so much, it doesn't seem like you can actually, you're guaranteed it hits the parts you want. And again, the way the character actually vaults and does stuff here makes it look like it's scripted, but it could also just be weird scripting there on their part. Yeah, maybe it's just like a, I don't know, maybe if you combo your archdemon with your regular demon mode, you get a better moveset or something like that. But yeah, it looks very, very, very interesting. Again, there's a lot of crazy attacks with it, which make it look very cool. And I'm very excited to use this one. And I believe that's it. So yeah, there we go. That was fun, I guess. Lots and lots and lots of talking, but hopefully you enjoyed the little theorizing, speculating. Sorry, I can't speak right now. I've been speaking for quite a while if you haven't been able to notice. So yeah, hope you enjoyed, and I will see you for whatever's next. I do have some, I don't remember if I stated at the start, but I do have a couple of parts of World. I'm going to be playing through World with each weapon. And if Raz comes out before I finish, then we'll play through Raz, and then I'll go back to it maybe at some point. But for now, that's the goal. That way I can get touched up on 5th gen weapons, see how they feel. We're starting with Greatsword. I've already got 2 parts, or not uploaded, but recorded, and one of them edited. And hopefully at some point when those go up, hopefully that's before this, but if they're not before this, they will come up eventually. And then we'll get on to the next weapons. Again, either way, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you for the next one.